are suing their neighbor, Scott Elam, for the cost of a baby macaw bird.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge.
Hello, Kevin.
Case 2194, Franchini Nunez versus Ellen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Nunez,
Yes.
your husband?
Yes, ma'am.
You and Mr. Allen?
Elam, Your Honor.
Elam are neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have backyards that are joined, separated only by a fence.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of fence?
It looks plastic. I'm not sure.
It's
Who
a
has a
vinyl
picture of the
Your Honor.
fence?
Scott hands a document to Kevin.
And you each have, as would happen, dogs, same breed.
No, ma'am.
What do you have?
I have a Shetland sheepdog and a Dutch shepherd, ma'am.
And what do you have?
I have shepherd mixes.
How many dogs?
2, Your Honor.
And you have 2.
Yes, ma'am.
This is what the case is about. This is the fence. It's not a chain link fence. It's either a wooden or a plastic fence. And you can see that underneath this fence, there's a board here where I assume there's a hole because the dogs dig holes to get to each other. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Case is about an incident that occurred. You've been neighbors for a while, and you have had this dog digging also for a while. Also correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant's dog.
Okay. This incident happened on the 16th of December, 2022. Why don't you tell me what happened?
I got up that morning to let my dogs out.
Both.
One dog. Okay, so the day started out, me and my husband woke up. My husband had to go get a tire fix, so he took my smallest dog, my Shetland sheepdog, with him. I remained home with my 2 children.
Slowly. Okay.
Sorry.
Got it. How old are your kids?
They are 6 and 7, ma'am.
Okay.
I remained home with my children because they were ill, and I had an appointment with them later on that day. My husband went to go fix the tire at 8 a.m. I got up in the morning to let my dog out.
Got up in the morning to let your dog out.
Yes.
The shepherd mix?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I let her out, and then she came back in, and I was cleaning, and my 2 children were in my master suite with my macaw, Penelope.
Okay. That's what the case about. This case is about a macaw.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
cost of a macaw.
Yes,
Which is a bird.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
My kids were in the master suite. I opened the door. I'm out there cleaning. I let my dog out of my
And the dog came back.
sliding door. She came back. Well, then she stayed by the door. Now, none of my windows have curtains, so I can...
Just a second. So then, but she stayed by the door, but she was inside?
She came back inside, I shut the door. This was 20 minutes went by, she's by the door, she's crying. I told her we would play later. I assumed she had to go to the restroom again, and I let her out again. She stood on the step, but she didn't go further than that, and she was just kind of staring out. From the left side of the house is where the defendant's dog, Bella, charged in my home. And then when I tried to grab her...
When you say his dog, Bella,
Yes.
came into the side and ran into the house, that doesn't... Somehow, if the dog, Bella, came out and your dog was on the step, it would seem to me it would stop on the step at first to sniff, play with your dog if your dog is sitting outside. I mean, I have dogs. Would go over to that dog first, not run into your house.
You would think that, ma'am, but she's been in our house 3 times before this because I had to return her to the defendant on 3 separate occasions. And she didn't do that day. When she came in the backyard on the 3 other instances, I remember the very first time someone from that household came to my door, and I knew the dog was in my backyard, but I didn't open my door. I left her back there. I figured they'd come. They did. And I said, hold on a second. I put my kids, I put my Sheltie in the room with my bird, and I shut the door.
Are we talking about the same
No,
date,
ma'am.
December?
We're talking about other days that I
No,
brought...
okay, let's not go on tributaries.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your dog's name?
Lucy.
Lucy. So the dog just went straight into your house. And what did Lucy do?
Lucy charged after her and tried to attack her.
Okay, so the dog has been in your house before. Have there been incidents with the 2 dogs?
No, ma'am. The defendant's dog is submissive to my dog. So the only time I brought the dog in my home was when I shut all the doors to all my bedrooms. Someone from the defendant's home came, I opened up the front door, brought her in, and she went straight out because there was nowhere else for her to go.
Okay, so it's your dog that is Lucy is the more aggressive dog.
Lucy's never been aggressive with her. I believe that Lucy was aggressive with her that day because of the way she came in the house.
When you say Lucy was aggressive, what did she do?
She started growling at her, and she started...
In the house?
Yes.
Now they're in the house. Put a period there. We have the 2 dogs in your house.
Yes.
And they are growling at each other. So that's not a happy picture because they're big dogs.
Yes.
Now let's get to the bird. You purchased a macaw.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a photograph of what they look like?
Yes.
When did you purchase the macaw?
I purchased her with payments over time. I completed the purchase at the end of September 30th.
This is the macaw.
Yes, ma'am. That's my
A
son.
parrot.
Yes, ma'am.
In December, how old was she?
She was going to be 8 months.
And how much did you pay for her?
I paid $4,320.08 for Penelope.
Okay, can I see the bill?
Absolutely, ma'am. Her birth certificate along
She's
with
beautiful.
all of the...
Pretty bird.
Thank you, ma'am.
Patricia weeps. Caption, coming up.
She bolted in my master suite where my kids were.
Lucy?
No, Bella.
Bella.
Bella did. And I went in there like I heard my kids screaming, Bella is killing Penelope.
And later today,
Is there something wrong with your mind?
No.
Did you just say to me, am I crazy? Did he say he owed back child support?
Yes.
To her?
Yes.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Patricia, Giovanni, and Scott.
Patricia Franchini claims her neighbor, Scott Elam, owes for the cost of a baby macaw bird killed by Scott's dog.
Tell me what got you interested in the macaw.
Earlier this year, full disclosure, ma'am, ended up in the hospital very sick for 2 weeks, and I was going through a lot, and I started volunteering at the bird store down by my home, and I really liked the Hans macaw because my grandma had one when she was younger.
Slowly.
Yes, ma'am. And so I spent a lot of time bonding with the birds there, and my husband and I thought it would be good and therapeutic for me, given what I had been going through.
Okay, now the two dogs are in your house, sort of fighting with each other.
They did not fight, ma'am. I did not allow
Well,
them to.
growling.
Yes, ma'am.
Growling at each other. And tell me what happened with Bella and the macaw.
I tried to calm Lucy down, and my master door was open. Everything was happening so fast. I know I'm describing it slowly, but it was quick. She bolted in my master suite where my kids were.
Lucy?
No, Bella.
Bella.
Bella did. I heard my kids screaming, Bella is killing Penelope. And
That's the bird.
yes. And I tried to get to Bella. I couldn't. My dog was standing in between us. And while I was with the two dogs, then my son thought, oh, I'm gonna go get her. And that's when Bella kind of snapped at him and she scratched him. And so then I couldn't get her. I couldn't, she literally was like chewing her up and like dropping her and like biting her again, you know? And it wasn't until my Dutch Shepherd bit her on the nose that she finally let her go, and I swooped and I grabbed her. I booked it to my pantry in my kitchen with my kids, and Lucy stayed in front of the door, and I have a door on it, and I just stayed in there, and I called my husband, and I was screaming on the phone. He got home maybe, I don't know how long, it probably really only was like 5 or 10 minutes, but it felt like forever. She was like
And
dying
where was
in my
Bella
arms.
during this time?
Bella was around the pantry with the bird in her mouth. And then I took the bird from Bella, and then I put her to the cage. And then Lucy just stayed by the parrot. And then I opened the door and
I
talked
didn't
to
even
the
know that.
kids. They were all hysterical, and I was trying to understand what she was
Where
saying
was
along with the
Bella?
kids. Bella was in the kitchen with a parrot.
And how did Bella get back to the defendant?
I walked her over.
How did you do that?
Kind of like how a mother pup grabs her by the neck. I grabbed her by the neck, and I walked her over.
Okay, your dog killed their bird in their house. And?
Your Honor, the hole that allowed Bella to get into their backyard was primarily dug by their dog over the course of many, many months.
And?
I continued to repair my side of the fence. Their dog continued to dig the hole, destroyed wood that I had put there. The dog got through. In that story, it's sad, but that's not the story that he gave to my wife when he came pounding on my door.
Well, you can't tell me what he said to your
was on the
wife, sir.
phone. Okay, that's fair, Your Honor. I can tell you what he said to me. I called him
You can tell me what he said to you.
instantly.
Just you have to understand, he wasn't home when your dog got into the house. He came home at the end of the episode. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
Okay. Understanding that, you can tell me your version of what he said to you.
What they both said to me, I've had conversations with the both of them since this has happened.
Okay.
The story has changed 2 or 3 times. First, it was she was doing something in the backyard and Bella just came charging in and basically knocked her out of the way, got inside. The first story was, I assumed the entire time that he was home, because when he was talking to me over the phone.
I don't care what you assumed. He wasn't home when it started. Your problem, sir, is, first of all, you were aware of the hole. I don't care who dug it. You were aware of it. And it's not the first time that the dog has gone onto their property. Has their dog got onto your property?
No, because I fix my side of it. I take care
so
of
the
my
answer
house.
the answer is no.
Correct.
Who do you live in your house with?
My wife and my children.
How old are your children?
I have a 1-year-old. I have a 7-year-old.
Let us say it's their fault that the hole existed that allowed your dog to get out. But you were aware of it because it had happened before that they had to bring your dog back. That a fair statement?
That's fair, yes.
Okay. Let us assume that it was your dog that was responsible for the hole, and their dog, despite the fact that yours was a better digger. You know, having dogs and having a fence, they both dig at the same place. They may not have fixed their side, but they both dig at the same place, trying to get to each other. Whose fault do you think it would be if their dog created the major part of the hole, got into your yard, and bit your 1-year-old? Whose fault would that be?
I think it would be equally our faults.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah. For
Really?
for digging, for not taking care of your property, absolutely.
Really? I actually find that answer sort of bizarre.
I would take responsibility if my child got hurt due to something that I didn't take care of. Absolutely, I would.
Well, you may feel guilty about it, but you would certainly want them to pay all of your child's medical bills.
No, I would not.
Well, then you're a better person than the law is, sir, because your dog was outside of your control, clearly, because it got into their house. It was something that you were aware was a possibility, no matter who dug the hole, so you were aware because it had happened before, and your dog caused damage, and the damage your dog caused, and I'm putting the emotional distress, these 2 young children, and the plaintiff seeing your dog kill this bird that they had been paying off so much per month for a very long time. Putting aside that, they paid $4,300 for this property that your dog destroyed. And that's your fault. You're responsible for that. So if, because of this problem, and your dog has a problem, and their dog has not come onto your property, but your dog comes onto their property, then you have to say, you know what? I'm not letting my dog go out unsupervised because it has created trouble in the past. May have been their fault because they didn't fill in the hole as quickly or as carefully as you did. But you knew that that happened, and you're responsible for the damage. It would be no different than if the dog ran inside, and as she was trying to get the dog bit her, and she had to have surgery, and she had to have a plastic surgeon deal with reconstruction. Who do you think would be responsible for that? That would be you. And just because it's a poor little bird that happened to be the victim of this doesn't make you any less responsible. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,300. We're finished.
Court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Patricia, then Scott.
I feel like it was justice for Penelope.
When a homeowner doesn't take care of their property and someone lets another dog in their house, they shouldn't be blaming other people for that.
It was extremely difficult to hear my kids screaming like that and do nothing to calm them down.
The judge's ruling is the judge's ruling.
I hope that he never gets another pet again.
I don't think there's gonna ever be a relationship, which is totally fine by me.
Sarah and Judy.
One of the most interesting things about that case is I don't think that the defendant's dog, Bella, was a quote-unquote aggressive dog. But I didn't get a hint that the other dog was even aggressive. Even by the fact that the husband was able to walk her back by the scruff of the neck. If that was an aggressive dog, they would just turn right around and give you a nice little snap. So that says to me that although the dog didn't obviously do it on purpose, what are you gonna do? But you're responsible as a defendant. You let your dog out. It's a act that's happened more than once. You were on notice.
Dog is out of your control. You're responsible. That's the bottom line.
Case 2202, Young versus Buchanan. All parties, please come forward.
Essie Young is suing her granddaughter's father, Keith Buchanan, for an unpaid loan she gave him for a car.
Judy.
Miss Young, the defendant is married to your daughter.
No.
He is the father of your grandchild.
Yes.
Do he and your daughter live together?
No.
Where does your daughter live?
In Maple Shade?
Were they ever married?
No.
They have one child.
Yes.
Who's 12?
Yes.
Did you live together with Miss Young's daughter?
Well, at one point, she lived with me in Maple Shade.
How long ago?
This was 2010, 2011.
You mean when your daughter was a baby?
Yes.
How long have you had custody of your granddaughter?
11 years. My daughter never stayed with him.
I don't know that. He says she did.
Yeah, but she did.
Caption, coming up.
So she got that money that he owed her for child support, for taking care of his daughter, and he wrote that off of the loan. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Essie and Keith.
Essie Young claims her granddaughter's father, Keith Buchanan, refuses to pay back a loan she gave him for a car.
This is a very simple case, because I don't have to get into the history of why you have custody of your granddaughter.
Yes.
Mr. Buchanan, according to you, asked you for a loan to buy a car.
Yes.
When was that?
Before he got it, he was calling every day.
Did you maintain a relationship with him?
Yes and no.
Would he visit his daughter?
No.
Ever?
Once in a blue moon.
Okay.
I usually have to take my granddaughter to see him.
Okay, it was sort of odd to me if he was never married to your daughter, so they didn't have a formalized relationship. They don't live together now. Why would you loan him? I know that you did. Why would you loan him money?
My granddaughter.
Except you're a very nice person.
My granddaughter asked me to. She said, Grandma, would you please help my dad? I told her I really don't want to. And she said, could you please do it for me?
Oh, different story.
Yes, and then I said, okay.
Okay, so you discussed with your daughter during one of these visits that you needed money to buy a car?
No, never did.
You never did?
No.
Who is this person?
That's my wife.
Does she work?
Yes.
Do you work?
Yes.
Well, why would you ask your daughter's grandmother, who takes care of her, who's always taken care of her? You don't, neither does her mother. Why would you not ask your wife's family? You both work, take out a loan. Why would you go to her and ask her for money?
But it was a situation that happened and I lost my previous car. I contacted Essie, I talked to Essie.
No, I'm asking you why you would ask her. What would prompt you to call her? Doesn't she have parents?
Yes, she do. I did that, and at the time they couldn't help.
So you went to her parents first?
I went to her family first. They said they're sorry they can't help at the time. So Mrs. Young was my last resource, which I didn't want to use, but at the time I had to use it because I had no other choice. I had to hurry up and get a vehicle.
Well, why didn't you take out a loan?
Actually, I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
Because my credit's not all that great. I tried to take out loans. I tried to go.
Does your wife have a car?
Yes, she has a car.
Okay, why don't you use her car?
She worked. I work an hour and a half away from home, and she worked too, and we worked around the same time.
How much money did you borrow from her?
$2,000.
How much did you give back?
$912.
$912. Show me.
Keith hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy.
On page 4, May 5th, 2022, she got $912.
From what?
From my taxes. And we agreed on once I filed my taxes, I would give her $2,000 for my taxes. She got $912 from them, that same taxes, because I owed backup child support. So she got on top of my regular payment for child support plus $912.
What? Is there something wrong with your mind?
No.
Did you just say to me, am I crazy? Did he say he owed back child support?
Yes.
And so she got that money that he owed her for child support, for taking care of his daughter, and he wrote that off of the loan. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Oh, my God. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Well, not ever. I should take that back. It's the dumbest thing I've heard today.
Sarah nods.
If you owed her back child support, how much did you owe her?
Only owed her $900.
In back child support?
Yes.
Okay.
That I fully forgot.
Just a second. You owed her that money. In addition to owing her that money, you owed her $2,000. Do you understand that? So you owed her $900 plus $2,000. Are you not following me? Am I getting something wrong here?
I'm with you.
Are you following that? That's either a yes or a no.
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, I'm going to repeat it again. What you said was they took money out of your taxes for back child support, $900. So that means you paid her $900 of the $2,000. That's what your argument is.
Yes.
Am I getting that?
Yes.
You already owed her the $900.
I had no awareness that I owed her $900. When I found out that $900 got taken out the taxes, I had no tax coming back. I was like, look, you got $900. You're going to have to give me time. And that's when it went south.
Oh, You got $900 that I owed you anyway. Now I need more time. Oh, my God. How is your granddaughter in school? She do okay?
Yes, she
does
well.
okay?
Yes.
Okay. Either his math skills or his moral skills are somehow lacking.
It's the moral.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Essie, then Keith.
I think the judge seen right through him.
He was gonna be miserable, so I just let him be miserable.
No one thinks like that.
As long as she go about her life, I go about my life, leave my family alone.
I just think he was hustling me.
Only contact me when he got something to do with my daughter, that's it.
I don't want anything to do with him either.
Sarah and Judy.
So initially, I may have been a little lost. It took me some time to get there. But I thought that what the defendant was saying was that he was expecting $2,000.
Shawnee Wyatt for stealing clients and breaching their employment agreement.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 2112, Landy versus Wyatt.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Miss Wyatt, when did you become an esthetician?
I was licensed as an esthetician in March of 2021.
Okay. Miss Landy, this is what your case is about. You hired Miss Wyatt for your business. You have a spa business. Is that what it is?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
How long have you had the business?
I've been in operations as an S Corp since 2016. I worked for myself as a sole proprietor since 2009.
How many employees did you have in 2020 and 21?
In 2020, it was during the pandemic. We were shut down most of the time. In 2021, there was up to 5 employees, not including myself, Your Honor. It was 6 of us total.
Does that include Miss Wyatt?
It does, Your Honor.
When did she start working for you?
She started working for me in February of 2021 as a receptionist. I hired her as a receptionist.
Okay. Not an esthetician?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Were you going to school at the time?
I was not hired in February. I didn't get my license until March of 2021.
What the plaintiff says is you were hired in February. She probably has documents to work as a receptionist.
I was not hired. I didn't even have my license then.
Did you have any proof that she started in February?
Your Honor, I have proof that she...
Was she on your payroll?
She was on my payroll.
Okay, so that
what we have document of in that is that she started brand new as a receptionist. Maybe it was in March of 21.
Okay.
I have my first paycheck stub.
I'd like to see it. Okay.
Alishani produces a document, then hands it to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
This is a pay stub from April.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This is your claim. Your claim is that when Miss Wyatt came to work for you, subsequently as an esthetician, which she was, because she counted her among your 6 employees in 2021, that she had signed a contract which provided for certain restrictions should she leave. You don't have that contract.
I cannot find it. It was supposed to be...
You don't have that contract.
Nope.
Miss Wyatt, when you went to work for the plaintiff, do you recall signing a document?
I do recall signing documents stating like what my job title was and like the documents that would go towards what we went over and things like that for training purposes.
Okay.
Your Honor, I have non-solicitation, non-disclosure agreement documents of employees. There's 4.
Okay. Is this an employee of yours?
No, it is not, Your Honor.
Ever? Was ever?
Never been an employee.
Were either one of those 2 people employees, former employees?
Tabitha Brown was.
Was this a former employee of yours?
Tabitha Brown was a former employee.
At approximately the same time?
She was an employee of mine for 5 years up until April 17th, Your Honor.
Did she voluntarily leave or did you?
She voluntarily left.
Okay. Did she voluntarily leave to go to work with the defendant?
I did not know that until the day defendant left.
But ultimately you determined that she did?
Sure did.
Okay. She was with you for 5 years?
Sure. Yes.
I assume that if you have a business and you don't have this contract, which you allege if you could produce, had a specific non-compete clause in it, but you don't have it. She remembers signing something, but she doesn't remember exactly what it was. Can you stand up? Tell me your name.
Tabitha Brown.
Miss Brown, did you sign a contract when you went to work for the plaintiff?
Yes, I didn't remember that I did.
You did?
Yes.
But you did?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a copy of her?
I sure do. And
just a second.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of it?
I don't.
No, but you have a copy of what she signed?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Your Honor.
No. Just
Okay.
let me see the copy. I'm trying to reconstruct something just to get some general parameters of this case.
Angela hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Tabitha Brown, March 22nd, 2022.
Yes.
Different.
Oh.
That is not the non-solicitation, non-disclosure agreement. That's a different agreement. Those are contracts she has signed.
Oh, well, you gave me two things. What is this?
One is her non-disclosure, non-solicitation, and also the second one is the role definition of an esthetician working for me.
Looking at the non-compete.
Judy scans the document.
Okay, this is pretty standard. Kevin, would you show this to Miss Brown? And I also want you to show it to Miss Wyatt.
Kevin hands the document to Tabitha.
That clearly your signature.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And so that says within 1 year of your leaving Miss Landy's employment, you will not work in a related field within 7 miles from her current place of business.
Yes.
When you left her employment, did you go to work with Miss Wyatt?
We left to share. Yes.
The answer is either yes or no. So you did. You went to work with Miss Wyatt. And when you went with Miss Wyatt, that was sometime in 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
What month?
May of 2022.
Your Honor, that's incorrect.
Shh. Don't. I'm not needing your help.
Okay.
Caption, coming up.
In this case, you don't have a physical signed contract, so I don't see why you think that you have all documentation.
I don't have documentation.
That's what I'm saying.
Due to the fact that I believe she stole the information out of my filing cabinet.
Alishani shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Angela, Alishani, and Tabitha.
Angela Landy claims her former employee, Alishani Wyatt, stole clients and breached their employment agreement.
Now, does Miss Wyatt have a location, a shop, a store, a place of business, or does she operate out of her residence?
We share a space.
You share a space where?
At the Salon Studios in Valencia.
Have you calculated the distance between that space and Miss Landy's office?
I have, ma'am.
And how far is it?
3.4 miles.
Well, you're not allowed to do that, pursuant to the terms of your agreement.
Correct. I don't have a copy of that agreement, ma'am.
Well,
I have it now, but at the time I didn't. It's from 5 years ago, and I never received a copy of that. So it was.
I don't know whether you received a copy of it or not. It's your signature, and it's pretty standard fare. Mm-hmm. It's not that it's not standard fare. So, Miss Wyatt, what I have to do is sort of put together whether or not I believe that you, in fact, had the same document that you signed.
Correct.
And I believe that you did.
Okay.
Right, the fact, she says that you probably took it when you left. I can't describe that conduct to her, but this is pretty standard fare, that within 1 year it's not too onerous, it's not within a 50-mile radius, it's a 7-mile radius. 3.5 miles is certainly well within that. You could have found some place that was 8 miles away, and then we wouldn't be in this difficulty, but you didn't. Anyway, so you were in violation of your contract when you left and went to work and shared space with Miss Wyatt. Okay, but you're not suing her.
No, ma'am.
Why?
Because I know the case would be dismissed because of the lack of solicitation between clients and of a former employee.
Well, not necessarily. Those two stand alone.
Your Honor, if I may say, there was a small claims action against Tabitha, but because there was no evidence.
What do you mean there was no evidence?
I had no evidence, the way I have evidence today with Alishani, that Tabitha solicited clientele.
Okay, now you can sit down.
Thank you.
So that small claims case was dismissed?
Yeah, I have nothing there, which I learned. I have nothing to stand on what I have to stand on today.
Well, what you had to stand on, Miss Landy, which I don't understand, you had a non-compete agreement with her. She's in violation of that agreement. That's all you need. And she violated this agreement. She went to work within 7 miles of your place of business. So I don't understand that. In this case, you don't have a physical signed contract. I have to reconstruct whether I believe that there was one. So I don't see why you think that you have all documentation.
I don't have documentation.
That's what I'm saying.
Due to the fact that I believe she stole the information out of my filing cabinet.
I don't know whether she did or not. Right now, you say it's a lost document. You can't find it.
Correct.
Okay. And the defendant acknowledges, and it's usually custom and practice in the business, to sign a non-compete when you have that kind of service industry. Right. And I'm prepared to accept judicial notice of the fact that when you go to work for a beauty salon or a hair salon or a spa, you develop a clientele within the spa. You can't open up a store next door and steal the clients. Most people have people sign this, and you did, and you had it done 5 years ago. So Ms. Brown is in violation of this contract.
That is correct.
Why somebody dismissed that, I don't know. I have no idea. Okay. So now you're going to demonstrate to me that Miss Wyatt solicited clients of yours.
Yes,
Show me.
Okay. In July of 2021, Alashani was trained to be an esthetician.
Let's not go back to ground zero. I'm not interested. I am assuming for the purposes of this hearing that she signed a non-compete clause, just as Ms. Brown did. So let's start from there, and I asked you a very simple question. I said, what proof do you have that she solicited clients when she left?
Your Honor, my solicitation is here.
Fine, I'd like to take a look at it.
And my witness, Kennedy, is here as well.
Well, let's go to Miss Kennedy. Was Miss Kennedy a client of yours?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you stand up, please?
The witness rises.
Your first name?
Kennedy. Kennedy.
Last name?
Johnson.
Ms. Johnson, how long had you been a client of Miss Landy's spa?
I want to say about 2019, Your Honor. I was there before the pandemic and was there for a while before it shut down due to COVID.
Were you there after it reopened?
Yes.
After COVID. What kind of work do you have done there?
I get sugared, which is using sugar, lemon, and I believe it's honey, and water, and you mix it together and it takes hair off of you.
And who did that for you?
I went through many of the clientele and the employees at Angela's shop at the time. So there were several people that, Lishane was one of them, as well as Tabitha.
How many times did the defendant do the waxing? Sugaring.
I want to say at least 5 times.
Do you recall when she left Miss Landry's?
I do not remember the date. However, I do remember getting a call from her company. I got a call saying...
From Miss Landry's company?
Yes.
Yes.
Your Honor, it's Landy.
Landy.
Yes, from Miss Landy's company. They had called me on my cell phone and told me that she was no longer there, and they had told me she was no longer there.
You can't tell me what somebody from her shop told you. That's hearsay. I want to know about the solicitation. If there was.
Yes. So one point while the defendant was there.
Sorry. Do you understand?
Yes. While the defendant was there, I had gotten sugared on my face. It was a small patch test, excuse me. And after she had texted me, gave me her personal number, and told me if I had any reaction to text her and let her know. After I texted her, I had...
And this was while she was working for the plaintiff?
Yes, that is correct.
Go ahead.
And as a while, I started having a small reaction, and I had texted her and sent her a picture of my face and told her that I was starting to have a small reaction. I did not receive anything back for a little bit, and then I want to say around April, late March.
Well, when did you text her?
This text for the face patch was earlier, I want to say early March, maybe February.
Do you have the text?
I believe she gave it to you.
The third one, Your Honor.
A text reads, "Hey Kennedy, I forgot to tell you if you wanted to book with me again, I can put you in my books. I'll be in Valencia."
What date did Miss Wyatt leave your employ?
April 22nd is when I got her immediate resignation.
April 22nd,
2022.
And is this what you're referring to? Hey, Kennedy, I forgot to tell you if you wanted to book with me again, I could put you in my books. I'll be in Valencia.
That's correct.
And is Valencia where your shop is?
3.2 miles away, Your Honor.
No. Answer my question. I have a question. Is Valencia where your shop is?
No.
That's my question. Why don't you just answer my question?
Okay.
Caption, coming up.
Tell me what she told your attorney. Do you understand?
Even if I have an affidavit?
Is your attorney in the military?
No, I just have a notarized affidavit.
From whom?
My
From
attorney.
Her? No, I don't take affidavits from attorneys.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Angela grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Angela and Alashani.
Business owner Angela Landy has accused her former employee, Alashani Wyatt, of taking her clients and breaking their agreement.
So Valencia is not where your shop is. Valencia is where your place of business is.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So you left on the 22nd, is that correct?
That's correct.
On the 20th, 2 days before, you tell Miss Kennedy, because I assumed that this was a planned move of yours, that she could reach you again at your new place of business in Valencia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, you're not allowed to do that.
During the services, it's a very intimate service, so you start to gain a relationship with these clients. And through that time, I felt like I had gained a relationship. It wasn't just a client with Kennedy. So
You met her
Yes.
through the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor.
You started to work on her through the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor.
She had other people work on her other than you.
Yes.
She may have liked you better than the other people. That doesn't diminish the fact that you knew that you weren't supposed to solicit clients. You knew that. I believe that you knew that.
Yes.
Because that's standard fare. So your excuse is you thought you developed a personal relationship with her.
Correct, Your Honor.
How many other people did you develop a personal relationship with?
Majority of the clients that I had who were returning clients of mine, I felt like I had built personal relationships with.
If you're potchking around with somebody's face or scrubbing their body or giving them a scrub to get hair off on every part of the body, then you develop an intimate relationship with
Correct.
somebody. Now, your first name is Kennedy?
Yes.
Kennedy, did you ever go out to dinner with Miss Wyatt?
No, I did not.
She ever invite you to her house?
No, she did not.
Was the only time you ever saw Miss Wyatt while you were having a service?
That is correct.
You see, that's not an intimate relationship. That's just stealing clients, Miss Wyatt.
Okay.
So my question to you is, you're seeking damages, okay? Did you seek injunctive relief?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
I didn't know about injunctive relief. In addition, because of the staff leaving, because of solicitation, admitted solicitation by Alishani to my attorney, and I have a sworn affidavit for that. Because of that, I ordered them a cease and desist, and they ignored the cease and desist. Alishani told my attorney that she did not
No, you can't
solicit
you can't tell me what she told your attorney. Do you understand?
Even if I have an affidavit?
Is your attorney in the military?
No, I just have a notarized affidavit.
From whom?
My
From
attorney.
Her? No, I don't take affidavits from attorneys. It's ridiculous. Are you still in operation, Miss Wyatt?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many people work for, with, or to you?
It's just me. I have my own personal LLC, and she has her own personal LLC, so none of our money is combined.
Miss Wyatt, how many of your former clients from Miss Landy's business followed you?
I would say a good portion. I don't have an exact number.
Yes.
Here you go.
Now, just tell me.
I would say at least...
No.
No, I'm sorry.
I don't want you to say I would say at least. I assume you have names, people.
I have names and people here.
How many of your clients went to Miss Wyatt?
20.
Not was solicited. Follow me very carefully. Not solicited by her, but actually left your business to go with her.
Actually left my business to go with her.
20.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see. Does that sound right, Miss Wyatt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then I don't have to see. She says that that's about right.
Your Honor, I would also like to add that after I left, she did send out a mass text allowing all of the clients who had ever seen me to be aware that I was no longer there. So that also allowed more clients to reach out to me in different aspects.
No, my dear, you made the mistake.
Okay.
You made the mistake by opening up an office within a 7-mile radius, which you can't do.
Okay.
You solicited her clients. I thought maybe just 1 or 2, but 20, that's a lot of clients. 20 recurring clients is a lot of clients. Miss Landy's request in her small claims case is the maximum of the jurisdiction, which is $10,000. And I think that she deserves every penny of that.
Okay.
Because what you did was wrong and a breach of your contract with her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
And I have to tell you something, that's ongoing.
Okay.
Just so that you're aware.
Alishani, then Angela.
I felt like the work environment was very unstable.
I have so many people to testify, including employees, that it's not a hostile work environment.
And I was constantly anxious there.
I was doing so much to improve the quality of the business by changing policies and procedures.
I had to do what was best for me and my family. I'm a single mom, so.
Hiring a business coach, working with an HR team.
Let the better business win, I guess.
The better business has won.
Sarah and Judy.
I was a little bit confused. Maybe you can shed some light on it for me. Why the plaintiff wouldn't sue for injunctive relief, because injunctive relief is suing not so much for damages, but to get someone to stop doing something. So in this case, it seemed to me that the proper ask, per se, would be injunctive relief to stop the defendant from operating her business in violation of her contract. But she didn't do that. She sued for damages instead. And I just think that this same problem could keep happening, that I think it's a good lesson for people to educate themselves or hire a lawyer to find the proper relief. Because what's to say that this is going to stop today? I'm sure she'll keep seeing the 20 clients.
Well, she's going to keep seeing the 20 clients. This judgment today was more compensatory than punitive, because if she had taken one client with her, well, she's in violation of the contract, and some token violation would have been appropriate, but she took 20 clients with her.
I got the feeling from you that you weren't exactly in line with the $10,000 number until you heard about
I heard
20
the 20.
clients.
I mean, that's really
That's a whole business, really.
Exotic pet store owner Brian Chow for money from a snake breeding business.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case number 212, Duenas versus Cho.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Duenas, it looks to me from your papers that you decided to go into a business with someone.
Yes.
With whom?
With the defendant, Brian Chow.
And you know him how?
He's a family friend.
And you know what his business is?
Yes.
What is his business?
He currently sells reticulated pythons, snakes, exotic animals, monitors, lizards.
And you like those things?
My ex-boyfriend did.
Did you?
I was more for the investment part.
Okay.
I was the investor at the time.
At the time you reached out to this family friend who was in the exotic snake business, your idea was to create a business.
No, Your Honor. It was actually the defendant's idea.
I don't care whose idea it was. Your idea was to create a business with your ex-boyfriend.
I agreed to the business, but it wasn't our idea.
Whether you agreed to the business or not, you invested money in the business.
Yes.
Which means that unless there's something wrong with you, and I see that there is not, you wanted to go into business with the defendant.
Yes.
So let's be easy.
Okay.
And at the time that you wanted to go into business with the defendant, I'll get to what the nature of that business was in a second. I know it had something to do with that wonderful-looking snake. You had a boyfriend.
Yes.
And the boyfriend liked snakes.
Yes.
And you went along with the ride.
Yes.
What month and year were you still with the boyfriend when you decided to go into the business, which you will explain to me?
Back in November of 2019.
So right before COVID.
Yes.
What was your boyfriend doing at the time?
He was working at an airport.
And he and Mr. Cho were friends?
Yes.
How long had you known him?
2-3 weeks, Your Honor.
Where did you meet him?
He came into my store and acquired
I didn't ask you anything. That's how you met him?
Yes.
I'm going to get through this case and get this lovely thing out of the courtroom as quickly as I possibly can. Well, some people find them exotic and gorgeous. I find them a little bit squirmy. So in November 2019, boyfriend and you decided to go into the business. Explain the business that you invested in.
I invested on 5 reticulated pythons, 1 male and 4 females. That was the original deal.
And what were you going to do with them?
Mr. Brian Chow was going to have it in his shop, and together we were going to breed them and make a profit out of them.
So the intention was never for you to take these pythons to your residence?
No.
And you understood that? No.
They're buying the snake, Your Honor.
Okay. How much were the 5 snakes?
In total, it was $10,000, plus the feeding and the cages that he claimed that the snakes needed.
Was it your agreement that for $10,000, Ms. Duenas and the boyfriend were going to buy 1 male snake and 4 females?
They decided to buy 2 snakes.
Well, when was that decision made, sir?
A week after I met him, because
When you went into the shop, did you ultimately decide on one male, one female?
No, so how it is, Your Honor, is he knew my ex-boyfriend prior to the business 5 years ago. He sold him a exotic Australian monitor lizard.
Okay, what I want you to tell me is, did there come a time when the arrangement changed, so instead of one male and 4 females, you were supposed to get one male and 1 female?
No, Your Honor. The whole way, it was supposed to be 1 male and 4 females.
Do you have any sort of a receipt for that?
We have Instagram conversations.
Do you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
Cassandra hands a laptop to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews a message thread on the computer.
1 male, 4 females. The guy's asking $15,000 for all, and then he says, I'll drop it to 12. Then somebody, I don't have 12 now. I just spent a lot on my monitor. Let's go the rest. Okay, so you say, I don't have that money now. He says, I'm getting 16 lace monitors. You remember that discussion? And then that's a big investment for me right now. I'm saving up to get a house, but I'm down to breed my monitor with any of your monitors. Keep going. So far, I don't have a contract. And then somebody says, no, you pay half and I pay half. Who wrote that?
He did.
No, you pay half and I pay half. Then you say 6,000. I'm short 6,000. I want to get them, but I'm low on cash till next month. And that's from you. That's from the reptile.
I had to see it, Your Honor.
Okay. If I invest half with you, what will be my return and in how long? Think about it. That's will be the baby's mix price. JTK Reptiles, that's you. Somebody's on their way. That's you and your boyfriend?
Yes. We were on our way to give him the money.
And how much money were you going to give him?
We gave him the first time $6,000 and then $4,000, a total of $10,000.
You received that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what did you purchase with the $10,000?
If you look at the message from there, what she showed you is they pay half of the 5 snake. It means they get 2 of the snake, and I get 2 of the snake. They've been lying to you guys since day one. They want to purchase 2 snake. Then I told them, like, if you look at the message, I can use my male to breed it to your female. It's an investment for you guys, not for us. It's no us. It's not with them at all.
Mr. Cho, were they supposed to take possession of the snakes?
They're supposed to pick up the snake. That's why they come to the store with it.
Which snakes were they supposed to take possession of?
One right here and one out there.
Is that a male or a female?
This is the female.
Has she had babies yet?
No, I don't breed her because she don't belong to me.
And how old is she?
Right now, she should be about 6 years old, going 7.
How long do they live?
Over 30 to 40 years, depends on how you take care of them, like I take care of them.
And there's another one outside the courtroom that's the same as this one. Also a female?
Yes.
And you gave them the $10,000. He acknowledges the $10,000. So we have a verbal contract that you were going to pay for some snakes. He was going to order the snakes for you, which he did. And that was accomplished, and the payment for the snakes was done on what date, the first payment?
Approximately in November of 2019.
And when was the next $4,000 payment?
The same month, I would say like a week.
Good. And when did you order the snakes, Mr. Chow?
Right after I get yeah, because I cannot just acquire the animal without the payment.
Okay, so now you've got the payment and you order the animals.
Yes.
On what date do they arrive?
2 days after, they're FedEx delivered to my shop.
And when did you notify the plaintiff that they were there?
The day that they came, I tell them the snake is
So it was also in November, sometime in November. And when did they arrive?
The snake arrived?
No, the plaintiff and the boyfriend.
They arrived a week after I notify the boyfriend.
Okay. Now, Ms. Duenas, a week later you went to the shop. And what happened when you went to the shop? Now he's got $10,000 and he's got 2 snakes.
I just want to clarify, Your Honor, that we even gave him money for the tanks because here in the conversations it says that he can't continue having them in tubs. So he needs us to give him money to invest to buy the tanks to house the snakes. So our original plan was for him to keep the snakes because he has the shop. We, at the time, lived in an apartment. He was well aware of this, that we couldn't have big snakes in our apartment.
He says no, you say yes. I'm not sure how I can resolve that. I'm trying to simplify this contract.
Cassandra nods. Caption coming up.
And you said you recorded all this?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Video footage.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? He owes me money.
I don't care. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out.
Judy's eyes widen. Cassandra's eyes fill with tears. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Cassandra and Brian.
Cassandra Duenas claims exotic pet store owner Brian Chow owes her money for a snake breeding business. Brian says Cassandra changed her mind about the business after he purchased the snakes.
Okay, part of the contract was fulfilled because you paid him. Then he ordered the snakes. The second part was fulfilled. I want you to tell me what happened when you went to see the snakes. You say to see them. He says to pick them up a week later.
So when we went to the shop,
Who
what
went?
led us to
Who went?
My ex-boyfriend and I. What led us to there is because after he obtained the snakes, he was not reaching out back to us. He was
Just a week later.
Yes.
You went to the shop. He notified you that the snakes were there. There's no question about that. Now, you went to the shop for what purpose?
Because he switched it and then he said it was 2 snakes when originally the plan was 1 male and 4 females. That 1 male was going to breed with the 4. So right out the back, he lied to us what our agreement was here, that he clearly texted us and said 4 males and 1 female. So it was 5 snakes. So we went to the shop.
Yeah, but there was a problem there with pricing. In the Instagram messages, a suggestion, because some of the texts were unavailable. He said originally they were $15,000. And then there was some discussion of $12,000. And then there was some discussion of $6,000. He says he'll pay half and you pay half. And there, I can imagine that there was some sort of an agreement for you to keep the snakes if you were going to pay half. You were always supposed to give them the snakes. Why would you pay half?
Then they get the 2 of the snake, and I get the 2 of the other snake. It's 5 of them. And the one that we gonna pretty much, they can have it if they want it, or I can use it when I need it.
You mean the male?
Yes.
So that was the business. Anyway, you went there, and what happened?
So I went in recording. My ex-boyfriend told me, hey, record.
Don't tell me what your ex-boyfriend told you.
Okay.
Just tell me you went in and what happened.
We went in there and we asked him, hey, we agreed on 5 snakes. Now you switched up and you said now it's 2 snakes. First you told us it was $15,000, then $12,000. You were playing games with us the whole time. And at this point, after a week later that he said that he got the snakes, then he told us it was 2 snakes. At that point, we were upset because we had planned and we had counted with 5 snakes. That's why we gave him that ridiculous amount of money. And basically, we didn't want nothing else to do with him. We wanted our money back. And that's what we went for, our money back.
Just a second. Yes. So you walked in wanting your money back?
Yes.
Do you have any text messages, Instagram messages, suggesting that before you got there, you had said to him, we changed our mind, we don't want to be in business with you, we want our money back?
No.
Nothing?
No. He wasn't reaching out, sorry, Your Honor, he wasn't reaching out to us. He was sending him video calls, he was calling him through text message, my ex-boyfriend.
I don't care. You paid the money, he got snakes. The question is, you think there's supposed to be more than 2? He says 2. More were more money. So the ultimate agreement was for 2. So what happened when you went there? You're there with your boyfriend.
Yes.
And you say, I want my money back. And he says?
He says, I don't have the money here. I have 2 snakes here.
Are you telling me that he didn't call you and say your snakes are in? Is that what you're suggesting? Do you have an invoice for these snakes, Mr. Chow?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see the invoice for the snakes.
Brian hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
By the way, your boyfriend has other of these exotic creatures. Is that right?
To the people that I get them.
What kind of exotic creatures does he have?
One that he sold him, an Australian water monitor from the Philippines.
And?
He has 2 rhino iguanas, a pair. He has a, I don't know the name, but it changes colors.
Judy reviews the document.
Mr. Chow?
Yes.
This is a wire transfer May 24th. 2018, and the date of this wire transfer is August of 2018.
And those are for the lace monitor
Are these lace monitors?
Yes.
Sorry, Your Honor, these are not lace monitors. These are reticulated pythons. These are not monitors. Monitors are lizards. These are snakes.
Lace monitor bell face.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's not that.
No, Your Honor.
Well, these are useless.
Yes, but that's connected to the rest of what they did.
What does it have to do with these two snakes? What I want to see is when you purchased these two snakes.
Yeah, I don't have it, Your Honor.
Well, get it. What do you mean you don't have it?
I left it at home. I'm so sorry.
Well, what'd you bring these for?
Those are the time that they both got arrested when they went to my shop.
Yeah, but you now have those back, right?
Yes.
You have those back. So if you had to take documents, why didn't you take the documents for the snakes in question? The lace monitor lizards aren't in question. You have them back. They may have taken them. They were arrested, and you finally got them back. So I don't understand that.
I just mistaken grabbed the wrong paper.
Well, Mr. Chow, do you deal with these people regularly, that you buy snakes from them regularly?
Not really. Depends on the size of the animal and depends what kind of animal.
Well, you have the date of purchase someplace, Mr. Chow, and I don't want you to waste my time.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. That's why I just said I don't have it, Your Honor.
Did they purchase that kind of snake?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
It was 5 snakes, Your Honor.
Don't give me 5. That type of snake.
Oh, yes, the reticulated python, yes.
And the one that's outside is the same, correct?
Yes.
And you did not purchase baby snakes.
No.
You wanted full-grown snakes because they were a business. You wanted them able to be breeding. Okay. Should have brought the paperwork. And you went in there that day in November because you had changed your mind.
Yes, and on top, yes.
Because you had changed your mind.
Yes.
That's the answer. You had changed your mind. You can give me a whole bunch of excuses, and you told him you changed your mind, you want your money back. And he said no, because I ordered the snakes, and I got them in, and they're yours. Contract is completed. I'm merely holding your property. And then there was a kerfuffle. And tell me about the kerfuffle.
The issue was that it was going back to what I was saying is, then we asked him as well, can we have like receipt? How much did you really pay for them?
No, that's not your business. That's not your business, how much you really paid for them. He made a deal, you paid him. If he got them for $2,000 and you paid him $10,000, that's nothing. The kerfuffle, let's draw this down to its most simple English. Mm-hmm. You wanted your money back, and you wanted to cancel this contract.
Yes, it's just when we arrived, those weren't the snakes that we ordered. These were the breed of it, is the ones that he was putting here on Instagram, which I have, which is not those. So we ordered something and we got something else. So
is what you're telling me, you went there to pick up your, because now it's changed. You went there to pick up your snakes. Mm-hmm. When you got there, they turned out to be a different...
It's breed. It's like the...
Pythons, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They're pythons, but it was a different kind of python. Mm-hmm. Now you're telling me because it was a different python, you wanted your money back.
Yes, because it wasn't what we paid for. It's like we paid for a Ferrari and we got a Toyota, basically. It's basically
You know nothing about pythons, so you're taking your cues from your boyfriend because that's his strong suit. Is it yours as well?
No, I'm just the investor.
Right. So your boyfriend had a conversation with him and said, those aren't the snakes that I ordered.
Yes.
Okay. And I want my money back.
Yes.
And you said you recorded all this.
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Brian shakes his head. Caption coming up.
And when he broke the glass, where did he take them?
He put it in a bin.
And is that you carrying them out?
Yes, and that's the reason why I was charged with the robbery, just because I walked out with the item.
That's fine. That's a co-conspirator.
Cassandra's eyes fill with tears. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Cassandra and Brian.
Cassandra Duenas is accusing exotic pet store owner Brian Chow of wrongfully keeping money for a snake breeding business. Brian says he fulfilled their agreement and claims Cassandra stole property from his store.
And you said you recorded all this?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. You just press play.
Which one?
Oh, right here. And then you press that.
This one?
Yes.
Kevin brings a laptop to Judy.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Subtitles. So you guys want to do the money then?
Yeah. The $10,180 in total, and then money on top of that for lending you the money and everything.
I didn't see that coming. Yeah, because we didn't see this coming. You just kept on giving us a runaround and a runaround.
Oh, no, what? About the mail. Remember that?
No, that's why I'm waiting for the mail to be delivered. I don't have the mail.
Yeah, but remember you had told us that the guy had it because he had to leave and he had to get out because he has surgery and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We gave you the money right there and then. You don't understand what mission we had to go
I
through.
didn't know. I don't mind getting you guys your money back, but I don't have cash right now. You guys caught me by surprise.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to do it today though. Like we need our money today.
If you want it right now, I don't have it.
We told you we want to do business correct, and you just keep on giving us another day and another day.
You told us as soon as we give you the money, the snake was gonna be here.
Yeah, it's not about me, it's the guy. It's not me. I'm just buying the snake from a different guy.
And then another thing where you messed up, you said 5 snakes for $6,000, and you come at me with 4 and you wasted my money.
Yeah, and I told you that he gave me only 4 snakes, the big giant.
Yeah, and why would you waste money if I told you to get the 5 snakes?
If you worry about the last one, I can pay for it. It's a mail that we don't need.
But I have to do all this, so I have to get like this for you to do that?
No, bro.
How can I trust you now?
Bro, the 4 snake is right here. I'm
gonna go get something.
What's wrong with you, bro? I'm just asking you. Let's talk.
No, we're not gonna talk. I told you don't with me.
I don't talk with you, bro.
Dog.
Why? What's
Because
wrong?
Because we gave you a lot of money. We're talking about over $10,000, and you're just giving us the runaround. First, you told us 5 snakes.
This is what we can do. I'll take it. And when you get the money, I'll give it back. Yeah, female too.
Oh, no.
Oh, no? All right, well.
Come on, bro. You're looking at a 15 grand.
I told you, don't play with me.
I don't play with
You don't even have the money right now.
Open them up, man.
I got the half of the money.
Open them up.
I'm trying to talk to you, bro.
No, there's no more talking because we gave you the money right here and then. That's unprofessional. You're trying to scam us, and you don't do that to people like that.
I didn't. How did I scam you?
Before I open it.
You're telling me that you don't have the money.
I have half of the money because I'm waiting for the snake. Bro, if you guys gonna get arrested.
There's no arrested. We're just getting what you took from us. Over $10,000.
I'm trying to talk to you.
$10,000.
You're gonna open it.
I'm trying to
No, we try to talk to you. You're telling us you're gonna have the money. I have everything in video.
I don't care. You can record me, bro.
All right, so are you gonna
You
open
don't
it?
play with people's money. You can call
You owe
whoever
me
you
over
want.
$15,000.
This is 15 grand.
We don't care.
Can you call a copy, please?
No. Watch out. Back away.
Cassandra's ex-boyfriend smashes a glass cage.
I told you, don't play with my money.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? He owes me money.
I don't care. Get out. 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 Get out.
Subtitles. He owes us money.
He owes us money. He owes us money.
Subtitles. They're gonna deal with that with the police.
Now I'll play that video, please.
Video footage of Cassandra's ex-boyfriend reaching into a glass cage.
That's your boyfriend breaking into the...
Yes.
And when he broke the glass and took out whatever lizards he took out with him, where did he take them? You were still with him.
Yes, he put it in a bin.
And is that you carrying them out?
Yes, and that's the reason why I was charged with the robbery, just because I walked out with the item.
That's all right. That's fine. That's a co-conspirator. Ultimately, the lizards that you took were returned to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it seems, Mr. Chow, at the beginning of this case, I must acknowledge to you that I was sympathetic to your position, that they had ordered snakes. You ordered them, you got them,
Yes, Your Honor.
and then the contract is completed. Uncross your arms.
No, I'm so sorry.
But it's clear from the tape that the plaintiff played for me that you acknowledged that you did not fulfill your end of the contract, that you were blaming your inability to fulfill your end of the contract on some third party. Is that what I heard in the tape? I mean, you know, my hearing's not really acute, but that's what you said. I have no control. I can give you back half your money, but I can't give you back all your money. So the contract was not complete.
It was complete because they supposed to get only 2 snakes.
I didn't see anywhere where it says just 2 snakes. There was a whole bunch of conversation there about the male snake, and you were supposed to deliver to them the male snake. and you said, I don't have that money now, but I can get that money for you. I can give you the first money. I don't have the second money. It was clear that the contract was not complete unless you have something to show me that it was. But what I heard, it was not. That doesn't mean that Ms. Duenas has the right to break your property and to steal property that belongs to you. What they do is they come into a court and say, you have my money. The contract was not fulfilled. I want my money back. That's what you do. Are you in the business of breeding snakes for your store?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if we were to go on the internet now,
Yes, Your Honor.
how much would one of those snakes, which is 6 or 7 years old, according to you, sell for?
Right now, this size, you're looking at it about 6,000 to 7,000 each one.
But if you troll the internet of people who actually like those creatures in their house, for whatever reason, if you put up that snake on the internet for sale, how fast would it take you to sell it?
I'll say like about a month and a half.
They're rare.
Yes.
Is that right? That's what you're saying.
It's rare and is just not a lot of people will acquire that much money.
Even though they can sell the babies. And how many babies do they have?
In a year, they can do from 30 to 50.
And each one of the 30 to 50, you can sell for $3,500.
Yeah.
I suggest you do that. She gets her $10,000 back. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Cassandra, then Brian.
I'm very happy, and I'm happy that she was able to see herself that the defendant got caught in multiple lies.
They're just a customer.
He wasn't truthful since the beginning. Ever since we invested.
They bought a snake. I just want to give their snake, but they don't want to take it.
And it's very sad how nowadays you can't trust in anybody.
Sarah and Judy.
I think one great lesson that a lot of people can take away from that is you have to know the business that you're investing in. I can appreciate she was sort of doing it for her boyfriend and he had the knowledge about the exotic animals, but that's her money at the end of the day. And if you're going to put your own hard-earned money on the line, it should be a business that you at least put in the time to learn about.
To understand.
Exactly, so that you don't have to rely on somebody else to make the right decisions.
Who's going to be gone tomorrow?
Exactly, exactly.
And your money
who potentially could, and then you're left on your own, having to sue and navigate a field that you really know nothing about.
Smart. And it was also an example of a contract that was not fully executed. I actually thought when I started the case that there was an offer, an acceptance.
For water damage.
Judy enters.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2077, Zacco versus Sheldon Foy.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ms. Sacco, you had some sort of a problem in a shower in your house.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me briefly what the problem was.
I had a small dribble coming from around a shower valve that was in my master bathroom shower.
Tell me what valve it was. You know, I'm not a...
Well, I have a picture that I can show you.
Just make a circle where the problem was.
I believe it was the top one.
Just make a circle. Thank you.
Carla marks a document.
Who's Mr. Shelton?
Robbie raises his hand. Kevin brings the document to Judy.
Just change places with each other. Thank you. Okay, and you saw a water drip?
Yes, very fine little drizzle coming.
You saw water dripping, and according to my complaint, you had seen around the neighborhood a truck, Foy's Plumbing.
Yes, I have.
And that's how you got to Mr. Foy?
Correct. My neighbor had used him.
Did you speak to the neighbor, or did you just remember seeing the truck?
No, I spoke to my neighbor.
Okay. Can you tell me on what date you noticed the leak and on what date you spoke to the neighbor?
Probably around the 10th or so of December.
That was in a shower that you don't use, but your husband uses?
I'm widowed.
Okay, so who told you about the leak?
The housekeeper.
Okay. And then did you check it yourself?
Yes.
And this small leak had been there for a couple of weeks before you got to Mr. Foy?
Correct.
After you spoke to the neighbor and confirmed that this neighbor had used Mr. Foy, when you called Mr. Foy, did you actually speak to him?
No.
Who did you speak to?
It was a woman that answered the phone.
Who answered the phone? Do you know?
Alma did.
I'm the office manager.
Okay, could you stand up, please? Tell me your name.
My name is Alma Valdez.
And you work for Mr. Foy?
Yes.
And you have a plumbing company?
Yes, ma'am.
How many employees do you have in the company?
Right now, only 3.
He's not one of them?
Yes, he's one of the employees.
How long has he been an employee?
Well, on and off 15 years.
What does that mean, on and off?
Well, a couple of times he went to work for another plumbing company and then came back.
Was he an employee of your company, pay careful attention, in December of 2021?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And paid on the books?
Yes.
Is he still an employee?
Yes, he is.
Do you recall receiving the call in December from Ms. Seiko?
Yes, I got a call from her on, I believe it was December 28th, saying that she had a leak, and so we set up an appointment for the next day.
Do you remember the conversation you had with her? Did she tell you she had been recommended by a neighbor?
You know, I don't recall. We did set up the appointment for the following day.
That would be December 29th?
Yes.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Shelton was the person that Mr. Foy sent to you, and you were a full-time employee of Foy's Plumbing. Tell me what happened when you got there.
When I first got there, I noticed water running out of the handle.
It was dripping out of the handle because it had been there since December 10th.
It was streaming out. It was a pretty decent stream of water coming out.
The plaintiff doesn't use that shower, correct? So the first thing that someone would have done, even me, is turn off the water. Is that what you did?
Well, I wanted to go see what the leak really was.
Well, you looked.
Yeah. First, and then I went out and shut the water off, and then came back in to pull the cartridge to identify. And there's no markings on the plate, so I couldn't really tell exactly what brand it was. We do carry a variety of brands, but more of your typical
You're
brand.
getting too technical with me,
okay.
sir.
Okay.
This is what the case is about. He came out the same day, the 28th. He said he didn't have the part. You have other complaints about his behavior on that day. You say was a little bit off. He left without a different part being put in. And you called another plumber? When?
I called, actually, my contractor that night to come over and look at it. He came over in the morning,
So he didn't come over that night. He came over the next day.
Correct. The next morning, he gave me
Now, you
referral.
can't tell me what he gave you. He's not here. It is your claim that because of the actions of Mr. Shelton, and which are attributable to Mr. Foy, who owns the company, you suffered severe water damage in your house, causing you to have to replace substantial flooring in the house, and you want Mr. Foy to be responsible.
Correct.
You have insurance. I just want to make sure you do have insurance. You're a company.
We're licensed in the state of California.
Okay.
We're required to carry insurance.
That's what the case is about. You want the company to be responsible. They did not come back and fix the problem. Someone else did, but by the time it was remedied, water had already seeped through and under the floors. You have evidence of that. Mr. Foy said that that's not his problem. So I'd like you to tell me what happened on the 29th when Mr. Shelton came. What time did he come in?
I think he came around 12:30. So we came in, went to the bathroom, looked at it, took out the cartridge. He did turn off the water. And then he said he had to go look for the part. He left. He was gone for over an hour, returned, said, I don't have the part, they don't have it. And as he's talking to me, his phone rings again, and it's the plumbing place, and they said, oh, we have the part. He left again for another hour. He comes back the third time, and he says, they still don't have the part. By this time, it's like 3 hours had passed, and I'm sitting in my living room, and I hear tools dropping in the shower. I said to him at one point, do you think you need to call for somebody else, some help? And he said, no, I can handle this.
Did he leave?
5 o'clock, I'm waiting. I have a friend that shows up at my house because we were going for dinner. And I said, well, we have to wait for the plumber to leave. And she goes, there's no car out front of your house.
You didn't know when he left?
No, I did not know when he left.
Did the shower look as if it had been put back in place? Did it look pretty much like this?
It was like that, but the stream of water that was minuscule before was much stronger.
Okay, that doesn't actually help you.
No.
That hurts you because he said the water was a pretty rapid, is that what you told me? Just 1 second. Could you read back, Whitney, how Mr. Shelton described the water?
He said it was streaming out. It was a pretty decent amount of water coming out.
Yeah, he said that was pretty decent when you got there. And I am correct, Mr. Shelton, that when you left the house that day, you had not found a part to fix it. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I am correct that when you went to disassemble it, you turned the water off.
Yes.
Because it was leaking.
Yes.
And then you didn't fix it because you didn't have the right part. And then you turned the water back on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Don't speak.
Caption, coming up.
Did you tell her that those were her options?
Yes. It would still
No
be leaking.
way.
It would still be leaking.
No way did you say to her, this shower is still going to be leaking.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Carla, Scotty, and Robbie.
Carla Sacco claims plumbers Robbie Shelton and Scotty Foy owe for damage from a water leak.
Now, when you left on the 29th without having put in an appropriate part because you couldn't find it, this leak which caused you to turn off the water because it was a pretty significant leak, you turned the water back on.
The reason why I turned the water off, because you had to take the cartridge out. If I left the water on and took the cartridge out,
Listen, Mr. Shelton.
I know, that's
Mr.
why
Shelton,
I turned the water
Mr.
off.
Shelton, you're not being a two-process thinker, sir. Let me explain something to you. I came to California from Connecticut to the place where we live in California. I walked into the master bath, to the toilet, et voila, I see a puddle of water around the toilet. I say to myself, self, you went to law school. You don't know what this is. But it's not a leak that's coming from the back. It's a leak that looks like it's coming from the bottom. So I called engineering. Fortunately, I live in a place where somebody will come up. They came up right away. The first thing they did was turn off the water. Smart, just like you did. Then they opened up the problem, looked at the problem, and said, we need a part. Unfortunately, those are not the same parts that we keep in the hotel. We'll have to order it. Turned off the water. Use a different bathroom. For the 2-3 days it needs to get the part. You weren't there. So just pay attention to me, Mr. Foy. You weren't there. I'm just letting you know what common sense is living on the planet for a long time. If you have a leak that's caused by a faulty part, and you don't fix the part because you don't have the part, you turn the water off.
May I point something out? He had to turn off the water to the whole house because there is no shut-off to the shower.
Just a second.
He had turned the water off to the whole house, and he put this cartridge back before he turned the water on.
What difference does it make if he put the cartridge back? He has taken the cartridge apart.
No.
In order to see what it was, he took it out of the wall.
He took it out of the wall, but it does not take it apart.
Mr. Shelton, if your employee, and if what you're saying is accurate, which I don't actually think is accurate, because every room in a house usually has a turn-off valve, especially in the bathroom, so you don't have to turn off all the water to the kitchen and to other bathrooms, perhaps. If there's a problem in the shower, there's a master lever for the whole house, and then there are smaller levers for each.
For everything except the shower, ma'am.
What do you mean for everything except the shower?
The shower does not have an individual shut-off. You do indeed have to shut off the water to the house. The vanities, the toilets all have individual angle stops, but the shower does not.
Were you ever at the house?
No, ma'am.
No, so you were never at the house?
No, ma'am.
How many square feet is your house?
It's 2,500.
It's a substantial house. So you're telling me in a 2,500 square foot house, if you have a leak in the shower, you have to turn off all the water if you want to turn off the shower water?
Yes, ma'am. That's absolutely correct.
That's absolutely correct. Having not been there.
Yes, ma'am. I build houses.
No. I don't care what you build. You weren't in that house.
This has no shut-off, ma'am, other than the whole house. You have to shut the water to the house off to shut that off.
So now here's my question. Did you tell the plaintiff that she had two options, either to shut the water off in the whole house until you could get a part because there was still a leak, or you could leave it on, but you have to watch it because according to you, the water was substantial that was coming out. She said it was a trickle. You said, oh, no. It was a steady stream of water. And that was before you started messing with it. So my question to you is, did you tell her that those were her options? She's not a plumber. That you either had to turn off all the water in the house and you would return the next day with a part, or you could leave the water on, but it was still going to be leaking. Did you tell her that?
Yes. It would still be leaking.
No way.
It would still be leaking because it was leaking when I left.
No way, Mr. Shelton. No way did you tell her that. No way did you say to her, this shower is still going to be leaking because I can't shut the water off just to the bathroom. I have to shut off all the water in the house. If you're trying to sell me that story, I have a bridge I want to sell you because I don't believe it.
There's no way to isolate that valve?
I didn't ask you that.
When it comes to the shower...
You were never there.
Or the tub...
Just a second.
You can't turn it off individually.
You were never there. I have this question for you. How many bathrooms do you have in your house?
3.
When he left the first time and he shut the water off, did he indicate to you that you couldn't use the water anywhere in the house?
Yes. I believe he told me at first that he was going to shut off the water to the house.
Okay, so you knew. So you couldn't use any other of the toilets in the house?
No.
Okay, you may be getting better. When he left, did you use the bathroom? The answer is yes.
Yes.
So you knew that the water had been turned back on.
Oh, absolutely.
In the house. Just a minute. So you knew the water had been turned back on in the house, even though he didn't tell you I'm turning it back on, you knew. And you knew that he hadn't fixed the problem.
Correct.
So you knew that you better watch this, which is why you called your contractor to come and look at it.
Correct.
You're getting better, Mr. Foy. You're coming into a better place, you see? Things work themselves out. Now, you know that the water is still dripping. You know that there's still a leak.
Correct.
You know that if you use the water, that water is still going to be a steady stream coming out. You didn't get another plumber there until when?
The next morning.
Well, that's your contractor. You said he came the next
No,
morning.
I got a plumber there the next morning.
Okay, and they came, and did they fix the valve?
They had to open the wall to cap off the hot and cold water.
So it was a big job.
It was huge. I neglected to say it in the beginning, but when he took the shower valve off, he looked in the wall and he said, "It's dry in there, you're lucky." So that next morning when I walked into the master bedroom and I was walking in wet, I did call the Scotty Boy.
Now tell me where you felt it when you walked into the master bedroom. Do you have wood floors there or carpet?
It's all wood. And it was right as I got to where the bathroom and the master bedroom meet. There's no door.
So it was outside that it was wet.
I thought my dog had an accident on the floor.
And prior to the 29th, it's not getting to look good for you again. Prior to the time, Mr. Shelton.
May I clarify? The room that she's talking about, the shower's here. Robbie's working in the shower where it's all tile.
You weren't there.
And we never went into her bedroom.
Yes, you did. You have to.
You can't tell me that because you weren't there. Is the bathroom adjacent to the bedroom?
So to get to the master bathroom, you have to walk into the master bedroom and make a left.
Okay. Now, Mr. Shelton, you recall saying to the plaintiff, when you looked in the wall, you're lucky it's dry in here?
I said it looks dry. I'm not next.
Just a second. Mr. Shelton, you wouldn't have said to her, it looks dry in here, I'm not an expert.
An expert on water
damage.
damage. Yeah, I didn't, you can't really see into that wall because it's tiled, right? You can't really look into the wall unless you open it, but there was no reason for me to open it.
Evidently, you're wrong. Either you were wrong that it was dry, or when you put the thing back together again, something didn't work.
Robbie shakes his head. Caption coming up.
After he touched it, it was no longer leaking in the shower. Now it was going through the wall. I'm just telling you, that's the time sequence, unless you believe in miracles.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Carla, Scotty, and Robbie.
Carla Sacco has accused plumbers Robbie Shelton and Scotty Foy of causing water damage to her home. Robbie and Scotty claimed the leak had been there for weeks.
Mr. Foy, you have a lot to say for someone who was never there.
Someone who's been a plumber for 40 years.
Just a second. I've been alive with houses for longer than you've been a plumber, right? And there are certain things just from being on the planet. This leak was first detected more than 2 weeks before your plumber got there, right? That's what she says. However, within that 2-week period, there was no water damage to the wood. The only time there was water, listen, you can shake your head all you like. This is the timeline.
We got called because there was a leak, ma'am.
No, you got called because there was a leak in the shower.
And according to her, it was leaking for 10 days.
Mr. Foy, what I'm telling you is, he would never tell me that when he got there, he noticed anything that would have suggested to him that he best keep the water off in that house because there was water damage. He didn't notice that. He just took it apart, couldn't find a part, put it back together again, whichever way he put it back together again, and the next morning, there was a flood. Now, that's the time sequence, because she called you the next morning, couldn't get you at 8:30. I don't know whether she used a house phone, I don't know if she used a cell phone.
A cell phone.
Cell phone. So she would have a record of calling you at 8:30 the next morning because there was a problem. She felt water. So before your technician got there was no water coming up in her bedroom on the wood. And that had been water dripping, he says, a lot. She said it was a trickle for 18 days.
Into the shower, ma'am. It was dripping into the shower.
Until he touched it. After he touched it, it was no longer leaking in the shower. Now it was going through the wall. I'm just telling you, that's the time sequence, unless you believe in miracles, things that, just happen. Something had been going on for 18 days, and there was no incident of water damage in her bedroom. Your technician comes, doesn't fix the problem, but takes it apart, puts it back together again. The next day, voila, there's water damage on the wood, which has to be replaced. Now, either that could have happened by itself, because your technician says, it's not my job, I don't look behind the wall, but he did acknowledge saying to her, it looks dry in here. Does acknowledge saying that. Now, if I had a plumber and the plumber said, I'm not the expert, I had a leak in my apartment with a leaky toilet. The floor started to go like this. Couldn't figure out where it came from. They came down, they pulled all the walls apart in the apartment. Water travels down. I said, well, if water travels down, why don't you go look at the apartment above me instead of pulling out the walls on the side? Well, if something doesn't make sense, it's usually not true. Can you, Mr. Foy, and you were not there, could you give me another explanation of why? Because I believe her. This woman is not here because she is faking damage to her wood floors that resulted within that day. If he left at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the next day she called you at 8:30. So during that time period was sufficient water that came through her house to cause damage to her floors. Give me another explanation.
I contend that it was a leak that was there. She didn't notice it because, as she said, she didn't use that bathroom. She wasn't in that room. And
he was in that room.
I know, but what I'm saying is the water damage was there before he was there.
So your explanation is that you sent a technician there. Now it's not looking so good for you, Mr. Foy. Your explanation is your technician didn't notice sufficient leaking from that valve to say to her, you best turn the water off in the house and not use the water until I get back to fix it.
He wasn't looking in the bedroom, ma'am. He was in the shower. He saw the leak in the shower. And
Can I see pictures of the floor, please?
Can I say something?
Sure.
When I left, it was not leaking. It was leaking the same way it was leaking when I first got there.
So
out the front.
Well, just a second. That's a lot.
It was coming out.
According to you.
Well, I mean, what a lot to me is a little stream is a lot of water.
Listen, Mr. Shelton.
Plumber, so.
Listen, Mr. Shelton.
You know,
she said a trickle. You said no. It was a steady stream.
Well, yeah, stream.
That's steady stream. Steady stream. Yeah. That's what you said, right? Can I see pictures of the floors, please? Between 4 o'clock and 8:30 in the morning.
Judy examines photos of damaged flooring.
Can I see the bill to fix it, please?
I also have the person that fixed it. He wrote what he did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, like kind of itemizes how.
Would you show this, please, to the defendant?
Yes.
Judy hands the photos to Kevin, who brings them to Scotty. He reviews them. Judy examines an invoice.
Thank you.
Scotty hands the photos back to Kevin, who returns them to Judy.
So, Mr. Foy, I assume you have insurance. You should have used it because I think you're responsible for the damage to her floors. And I think that was done because your technician did not do an adequate job of protecting it between the time he found a leak and between the next day. Nothing else makes sense to me. 35-89, judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I don't really agree with it because it was already leaking before I got there and she admitted to it.
I'm just thankful this is over.
That is a wood floor. Water could have been underneath the wood floor and not showed itself.
You would think once they pulled the floor up, there would be mold.
I have nightmares about leaks.
Got justice today, thank goodness.
So, you tell me that there are houses that you know where there is a master switch.
Yes.
That you have to turn off for the shower.
I know it can be expensive to have all the valves in your house be the individual shut-off valves. I do think it's safer, but honestly, not everyone has the luxury of being able to afford them.
Even if that's the case, you should give the homeowner who called you, say, listen, there is a leak here. I can shut off all the water until I return.
Damage after his car was vandalized.
Judge Judy enters.
Court come to order. All rise.
She takes her seat behind the bench.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2151, Martin versus Morale.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Martin, you and the defendant are neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been neighbors?
Moved into the subdivision in 2019.
That's how long you've been there?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how long the defendant has been there?
I think 2014.
Is that right?
2017, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
And where do you live in respect to one another? You want to go over there and show me?
I live in this house right here. Or I did. I don't anymore. This house right here. And she lives right here.
You sold your house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the defendant
She lives right here.
where the blue car is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
A diagram of a neighborhood.
This is sort of a circular area, and from the circular area, you pull into your driveway. Is that right? Okay. It is your claim that the defendant keyed your car.
Yes, ma'am.
And when did this happen?
January 22nd, 2022.
The defendant says that she did not key your car. She has a counterclaim. She claims that she was falsely arrested and held overnight in jail.
That is a lie.
But just a
Okay.
That's her claim, that she was falsely arrested, that she spent a night in jail. She had to hire a lawyer, did hire a lawyer after her lawyer requested several adjournments. You were not, at least physically, in the courtroom at the time of the last adjournment, and the case was dismissed. So let's go back to prior to January 22nd. I assume that if you're alleging that the defendant keyed your car, that you have some negative history with each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Starting when?
There are so many. I mean, it started out when we moved in the subdivision. They were nice at the beginning, no issues. And then the kids started having, her granddaughter lives with her.
Okay, how old's your granddaughter?
She's 9 now. She was 8.
Okay.
They started out having some issues, as kids do. I mean, you know, that happens.
You have a child of a similar age?
Yes, ma'am. She's 11 now. She was 9 or 10 when we lived there.
And the two children had an issue?
I mean, you know, kids argue.
No, I understand that. I'm not going into who was right and who was wrong in the kids' argument. I don't really care. But when did that argument between the two children spill over to the neighbors?
Well, I guess the final straw was Labor Day weekend of 21, the Sunday before the Labor Day. We came home late. It was about 7 o'clock. We were working, and we told Jillian we were going home for a little bit, and she said, I want to swim in the pool. I said, all right.
Jillian is your 10-year-old?
Yes, yes. And of course, she said, well, that's boring, Daddy. I want a friend to swim with me. So I said, okay, one friend. That's it, because your brother's going to watch you, and then we're leaving to go back to work. So she goes next door to Patrick's house, which is the next door neighbor, and she asked Patrick to come over and go swimming. He comes over. At the time, I didn't know this. At the time,
At the time, the defendant's granddaughter was there.
Yes.
At Patrick's house.
yes,
Got it. So your daughter went over and invited Patrick
right,
to come and swim.
right. And not,
You had told her that she could have one friend in the
Right.
pool, so Patrick left to come swimming, leaving your granddaughter alone.
well, she had to go home.
She had to go home.
Yes.
She came home.
So just a second. That's what happened. Okay, you had a grandchild who had hurt feelings. I assume
She
had
actually
hurt.
went over to go swimming. She thought she was invited too.
You had a
Then-
child with hurt feelings.
And I went to ask what had happened.
Okay.
That's this big hoopla.
Okay, now your grandchild comes home. I assume she was upset. Was she crying?
Yes.
Okay, and that was about what time?
In the evening. I honestly can't remember.
Okay, and when she came home crying, tell me what you did.
Went out and, honey, what's wrong?
What did you do?
Are you okay?
Yes, and she told you what happened.
Said I went over to Jillian's. She invited us swimming. And when I got there, her dad said only one person could swim.
Okay,
So she came home.
okay, and what did you do next?
That's not what happened.
I talked to her, calmed her down, and I went over and said, hey.
You know, just a second. You walked from your house, where the blue car is.
Yep, around the corner.
Did you take your granddaughter with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
She's lying.
And what? Shh. If you do that again, I'm
All right.
just going to dismiss your case. Do you understand that? And you know, it's
Yeah,
easy.
I got it.
This isn't my case, it's your case.
I know.
So you walked alone to his house. Did you knock at the door? Did you go outside? I want you to tell me exactly what you did.
I don't remember if I went to the front door, if I went to where the pool is, and I do believe Mr. Martin was out there.
Okay, so Mr. Martin was out there, and you said it in that kind of a calm tone?
What happened to my granddaughter? Why is she crying?
Well, she told you why she was crying when she was home. She told you she was crying because she went over there to swim, and Mr. Martin said you can only have one person swim with you.
Which is totally out of character. The children swim together all the time.
You mean at Mr. Martin's pool?
At Mr. Martin's pool, and if they need another adult,
Just a second.
I go.
So they swim all the time in Mr. Martin's pool, so you wanted to know what happened on this occasion when he said only one person can swim.
Yes.
And you said it in just the same kind of conversational tone that I'm talking in, is my question.
I was very calm at the beginning, yes.
Oh, okay. And so you said to him what happened, and what did he say to you?
I don't remember exactly. It was to the effect of his son was going to watch them, and he could only have one child in the pool.
Right, that he wanted his son to have responsibility of only watching one other child other than his sister.
Correct.
Right, well, that sounds reasonable.
And that's fine.
Just a second. So how did it escalate? He said, I only wanted one child in here. My son's going to watch the kids. We have to go back to work. And that should have been it. Why wasn't it?
I don't know.
Caption, coming up, Zachary at the diagram.
So I walked back out and looked at the Pathfinder, and that's what I discovered, the scratch across the back. It's bright white, so that indicates it's fresh. I told her while she was standing there, you're going to jail, I'm gonna call the police.
Okay, now I'd like to see the video.
Nancy rolls her eyes. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Zachary and Nancy.
Zachary Martin claims his neighbor, Nancy Morrell, keyed his car and owes for the repairs. Nancy is countersuing for a false arrest and lawyer fees.
Now let's get to your version of what happened. Okay, so you said only one child. Her granddaughter went home. Her granddaughter, who's a little girl, is upset. Why can't I go swimming too? I got that. And?
This is a lie. Everything she told you is a lie.
Just a second.
She did not come to my house.
Just a second.
She did not come to my house.
If you say again it's a lie, I'm going to dismiss your case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I asked you what happened.
She did not come to my house.
Okay.
Her daughter came to my house.
Just a second. You mean her granddaughter's mother?
Yes. I never talked to her.
Before my daughter went over, I had gone over.
She did
not.
not.
Oh, no, just a second. Yeah. Now I don't believe you, Miss Morrell. Now I don't believe you, madam. I watched your eyes. I just watched it. Now uncross your arms. So, her daughter came over first.
No,
Yes.
I
Well,
went
she
over.
never
I don't want to hear you.
She never came over. The daughter came over. She bypassed my front door and went to the side gate where the pool is. She told my son to go get me.
To go get you?
To go get me. I came out and she called me a jerk. You should let her swim in the pool. Blah. I just told my daughter, look, you can have one friend because your brother's watching you. It's not fair for him now to watch 3 kids. Just 2, that's all. I told her, I said, look, I don't know what you're talking about. I said she could have one friend and that's it. She proceeded to call me a jerk. She said some other choice words I'm not going to repeat, in which case I did cuss her out and told her to get off my property and not to come back again, anybody in her family, or I would file trespass charges.
Okay, and that was on the Sunday before Labor Day?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did this incident happen with your car?
January 22nd.
After that incident on Labor Day weekend, did you have any other contact with the defendant?
Yes.
When?
So I think it was right after Jillian's birthday on November the 21st. I think it was like a week, like December the 1st, I think. And this is really sick, but it got to the situation where she would watch my kid. And every time my kid would go to Aubrey's house or Patrick's house, she would take toys, she would unpack her stuff. And I told her, I said, look, you can't play with her. So they would wait 10 or 15 minutes till she got unpacked and get all comfortable, having a good time. She would send her granddaughter over there. She had to pack her stuff up and come home. She would come home crying many times. So then it got to the point where Patrick, he would come over to our house. He'd be over to our house all the time. They would get on trampoline, play video games, blah, blah, blah. So I was doing something one day and then the camera went off and I give me a look at my iPad. Here comes Nancy up my driveway. She knocks on the door and she says, can we play? And I said, no, you can't play. Get off of my property. File trespass charges if you come back. That was, the last time I interacted with her until she keyed the video.
Well, it's not my job to be judgmental in a social way, but I have to tell you, I would have handled it a little differently with her. She wasn't the one who behaved badly. I wouldn't visit her daughter's bad behavior on an 8-year-old. There are kids who live right around the corner from each other, and it seems to me that the bad behavior of a parent or a grandparent shouldn't impact on a child. The granddaughter is a nice little girl.
Well, if you say so.
Is she?
Well, she spread rumors about my daughter and said that, she told Aubrey that my daughter stole some of her toys, and that was a lie.
Okay. All right, but it's sort of started to get nasty. Now let's get back to the keying of the car. So that happened in January. So tell me about the January incident.
Okay, so she got up January 22nd. It's a Saturday. She decided to walk her dog. She's walked her dog.
Go over there. Show me what you saw.
Okay. Zachary at the diagram.
So she decided to walk her dog, and so she walks up the sidewalk.
Well, you didn't see that.
No, not right here.
No, you didn't see that.
When she gets about right here, which is Patrick's house, The mailbox is right here. You can see in the video. That's when the cameras detect motion. That's when I get the alert. So I see her walking the dog, and she's walked her dog past my house many times, but never gotten that close to my vehicle. So immediately I thought something.
Where was your car?
My car is parked right here.
In the driveway?
Yes, ma'am. So she walks the dogs, and she is right beside the view. I mean, you can see in the video, you can see her right hand go up. So I immediately run out of the house. I have a truck parked right here. I looked at my truck. I thought maybe she did something to the truck. I looked at it, didn't see anything. I went back outside and I said, well, wait a minute, let me go back outside and look at the Pathfinder. So I walked back out and looked at the Pathfinder, and that's what I discovered, the scratch across the back. It's bright white, so that indicates it's fresh. I told her while she was standing there, you're going to jail, I'm gonna call the police.
Okay, step back. When you said to her, you're going to jail, I'm going to call the police, did she respond?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, now I'd like to see the video.
Okay.
Footage of Nancy walking her dog.
You can see as her hand goes up right there.
Nancy disappears behind the vehicle, then emerges and hurries away.
I'll take a look at it again. Is there any reason that you stopped behind his car? Is there any reason?
Stopped to sniff, I stopped with him.
You see her right hand right there.
I'm moving my arm as I walk.
Yes, and that's where the scratch is.
Okay, can I take a look at the photographs of the scratch, please?
Zachary produces photographs, then hands them to Kevin. He brings them to Judy, who reviews an image of a scratch on a vehicle.
Okay, so based upon what you saw, you called the police. And based upon that, the police came, interviewed you, and viewed this tape.
Actually, I had contacted the police after he had yelled at me. He's a little incorrect. Could I show you where?
Sure.
I did walk my dog around here. His cars impede the sidewalk, so I moved. And I had completed my whole route over to about here, and he did indeed come out and yell at me. I caught a few words of it, said I'm walking my dog, waved my arms, and continued on. That's not the first time he has yelled at me as I've been walking, and I went home and I filed an incident report, and I do have that.
Just a second.
The second time I've been walking and he's come out and yelled at me, it's very unnerving.
That's a lie.
We're very far.
Sorry.
It's going to cost you getting your car fixed. It's something you don't understand.
I have it.
Something you don't understand. I'm allowing both of you to tell me your sides of the story. You can't say that's a lie. Do you understand?
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not cutting you off. I let you tell me your story, sir. I let you tell me what happened, and I want to give the defendant the same opportunity. You can't interrupt her. Now you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? I will tell you what I don't understand, Miss Morell. You see, if I had got into a kerfuffle with him, which you had, because he said you and your granddaughter, which I actually think was socially wrong with regard to your granddaughter, but with regard to you, he doesn't want you there, right? I wouldn't walk up a cul-de-sac to go past his house. If it were me, I see plenty of space where you can walk. You can cross the street from your house and walk in the street the other way. And then when you come back, you can walk the other way. You don't have to go inside that cul-de-sac to walk anywhere near his house. That's looking for trouble.
Caption, coming up.
Can I just say something?
About what?
The trend that another gentleman, he tried to accuse of scratching his car.
Are you her husband?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to let you stand up now, and you're going to show me where he accused somebody else of keying his car in the back in January. Show me.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Zachary and Nancy.
Zachary Martin is accusing his neighbor, Nancy Morell, of keying his car. Nancy is countersuing for a false arrest and lawyer fees.
So you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for false arrest. He didn't arrest you. The police arrested you. And the police arrested you based upon what they believed, after looking at that video, was probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause to believe you participated in the commission of that crime, which is vandalism. He didn't make a citizen's arrest. The police made an arrest. And not only did they make an arrest, but they were serious enough to have you get a lawyer, Your counsel went in. I assume your new counsel asked for an adjournment. I assume your new counsel, you were there.
I believe so. I was not there, ma'am. I waited out in the hall, and my lawyer represented me.
Fine. So I assume that you knew that your lawyer was going to ask for an adjournment. The lawyer didn't prepare you for trial, did he?
No.
No.
Your Honor.
So he was. I'm not listening to you.
As a witness, can I just say something?
About what?
The trend that another gentleman, he tried to accuse of scratching his car. We have evidence of that.
Just a second. That I'll listen to in a minute.
Okay.
The second time your case was on, did you go into court or did you wait outside?
I waited outside.
Then if you waited outside, you knew again your lawyer was going to ask for an adjournment. The first time the case was on, did you attend the court hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you inside the court?
Yes, ma'am.
She was not there.
She was outside. Yes, ma'am.
The second time when the case was adjourned, were you in court?
Yes, ma'am.
Was she there?
Yes, ma'am.
Outside or inside?
She was outside.
Did her lawyer ask for an adjournment?
Continuance.
A continuance?
Yes, ma'am.
Same thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Did it happen more than twice?
Yes.
On the third time you went to court, did you go to court?
Yes, ma'am.
Was she in court?
Yes, ma'am.
Inside or outside?
She was outside, and what happened, I had sold the house, and we moved an hour away.
Just a second. You were there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I'm going to let you stand up now, and you're going to show me where he accused somebody else of keying his car in the back in January. Show me.
Nancy's husband, Jerry, rises.
No.
He tries to approach the bench. Judy waves him back, then Kevin comes and collects a document from him and brings it to her.
Well, this says that on January 18th, which was 4 days before this incident, you reported another vandalism to a Nissan Titan.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the car that you saw her key or believe she keyed?
No, ma'am, that's a different vehicle.
That's what I thought. That's a different vehicle. That has nothing to do with this car.
Well, the gentleman that he accused of, he didn't even have arrested or didn't want to press charges.
Just a second. Okay, so now I'm going to let you stand up, and I'm going to give you my end of the riot act, because if this is what you're deluding yourself with, I'm going to tell you. He didn't have video of anybody on the 18th around his car. In your wife's case, sir, he had prior experience with her. She had no business walking right in front of the house when there are plenty of other places to walk. If they are not on great terms, he had every right to call the police, show them the video, and they had every right to arrest her. Do you understand that?
I understand that, but
Good.
that doesn't
This has
prove
nothing.
that she scratched the vehicle. That doesn't prove that.
Just a second. That's what a trial is for, sir. That was up to a jury. What your wife is suing him for is for false arrest. He didn't arrest her. The police arrested her. Now sit.
Jerry sits.
May I see the invoice? Have you had the car fixed?
Yes, ma'am. I have an estimate, and I also have the police report. where
I'd like to
read
see
her own
both.
words.
I'd like to see both.
Zachary hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
So the police officer indicated that after you were told about what the officer saw on the video, you've decided to make no more statements about the incident, and you were placed under arrest for malicious damage. The officer also reported that the scratch on the back of the car was fresh because there were fresh paint chips on the street that were red paint chips. There's a red car that came off that car, which demonstrates to the eyes of any layperson that since there's traffic back and forth there, if there are fresh scratches and fresh paint, it means it just happened. So your counterclaim for false arrest and anything addended thereto is dismissed.
I did not do it, Your Honor.
Right, okay, maybe. The case was dismissed. That doesn't mean you're entitled to money from him. Police had probable cause to believe that a crime was committed and probable cause to believe that you committed that crime. The rest of it is up to a jury. So you have a beef with the police department, not with him. They had an absolute right to arrest you. I'm not giving you $2,500 for this scratch, sir. Get it out of your mind. Do you understand?
Why not?
It's not a $2,500 scratch.
I mean, that's an estimate from a body shop.
$500. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Nancy, then Zachary.
Well, she was incorrect because I did not do it.
You know, we took an oath when we went inside to tell the truth, and she lied repeatedly, and she got mad at me when I said that's a lie, but it was a lie.
That he saw me walking by and looked at the car and said, oh.
The next day, I called the police. to see what happened, and they informed me they arrested her.
I thought they were there because I had called about him harassing me, and then all of a sudden they just said, "You scratched his car," and I said, "No, I didn't."
I think she should have stayed in jail longer.
They placed me in custody.
The lady does nothing but lie. She's a liar.
It was horrible.
In chambers, Judy with Sarah.
I actually thought his behavior when the defendant brought her granddaughter over subsequently and said, "Can't she play?" Because evidently there are 2 or 3 kids who live close by and they always played together. All of a sudden, the granddaughter is excluded from that play. There's a certain amount, as a parent, he should have had some sense of that and said, well, of course they can play, but your daughter owes me an apology. You know, if you're behaving like an adult, your daughter owes me an apology. I tried to do a responsible thing. I didn't want to let my son watch more than one stranger child in a pool, which is absolutely smart because, God forbid, something happened to one of those children, they would certainly turn around and sue him.
Yeah.
So he did the responsible thing. Was it hurtful to the other child? Yes. According to him, his daughter was playing at Patrick's house. She came over and said, "You can't come," because they're little children. They don't understand. You can't come. Only one person can come. But you're a grown-up. So understand how that could be hurtful to an 8-year-old. Anyway, I think that they both behaved badly, and he's very smart to have moved out of that.
Out of the cul-de-sac, out of the neighborhood.
Yeah, could you understand why she would walk her dog there?
Yeah, see, I agreed with you that if you've already had even just a hint of distaste with any of your neighbors, I just walk on the other side of the street, just avoid it. And this seems like a
Bradley Burke for a false claim leading to his arrest.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Be seated, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge.
Why are you, Kevin?
Case 2201, Parkinson versus Burke.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Brian.
Mr. Parkinson, you are suing the defendant, alleging that she caused you to be falsely arrested.
That is correct.
The defendant has a counterclaim. Her counterclaim is based upon the same incident for which you were arrested. She's claiming that you placed both herself and her passenger in her car in fear because you displayed erratic behavior and threatened them with a gun. And I gather that you two live in a gated community. Is that correct? Where is that?
Arkansas.
How long have you lived there?
8 years.
And you?
26 years.
This incident occurred on what date, sir?
June 7th.
Of last year.
Yes.
You were driving what kind of car, Mr. Parkinson?
A gray Toyota Tundra.
Sir, I think I know what that looks like. Could you bring that up for me so that I can see? A Toyota Tundra.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a little car. That sounds like a big car.
It's a truck.
On her laptop, Sarah shows Judy images of pickup trucks.
Big. And what kind of car were you driving?
A Toyota Camry.
That I know what it looks like. It's a regular size, smallish car. This incident happened, according to the complaint, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's correct.
I'm going to start with you, Mr. Parkinson, since it's your claim for false arrest.
Yes.
So I want you to tell me your version of what happened on June 7th, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I assume you were on your way home.
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Go ahead.
Miss Burke pulled out of the station in front of my vehicle, directly in front of me, causing me to hit my brakes extremely hard.
Okay. Either because she wasn't paying attention, right?
Could be.
Could be. Well, you wouldn't think. Just let me stop. When was the last time you were psychiatrically hospitalized?
Never.
Are you currently taking any psychotropic medication?
No, ma'am.
Were you intoxicated on the 7th of June?
No, ma'am.
4 o'clock in the afternoon?
No, ma'am.
So, Mr. Parkinson, let me go back a little bit. This is a non-psychotic, not drunk person. So if you're a thinking person, you know that if she pulled out, either she wasn't paying attention because she's not driving the Tundra, you are. You're driving a this, she's driving a this. So she wouldn't place herself and her son in harm's way purposely to pull out in front of your Tundra.
I would hope not.
Well, I would say absolutely not. I don't have to even guess about that. She did not put herself purposely in harm's way. And so she pulled out in front of you. You had to put on your brakes hard.
For her safety.
You weren't thinking about her safety. You're not thinking about anybody's safety. It's a reaction. If somebody pulls out unexpectedly, you put your brakes on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's not going through your mind for her safety. It's put your brakes on. I mean, because if you were thinking about her safety, then we wouldn't be here today. So after you put on your brakes to stop, did anything happen?
Some objects in the back of my truck dislodged, some stuff in the back of the seat moved.
And these things that got dislodged, did they get dislodged from the back cab in the truck or from the interior of the truck?
Both in the bed and the interior.
Okay, what got dislodged in the interior?
Some paperwork, some clothing.
Okay, so it fell on the floor.
Yes.
Okay, and in the back part of the truck?
Bed of the truck, some tools shifted also.
Didn't fall out of the truck. They just moved from one place to another.
That is correct.
What did you do next?
I proceeded to follow Miss Burke into the village because I live in the village.
When you say you followed her in, describe what you mean you followed her in.
She was in front of me, and I followed her into the village.
Don't play with me, sir. I read your complaint. You were tailing her.
Yes.
Yes. Well, let's say I was tailing her closely because you were annoyed.
Yes.
There we go. So you understand at this point, sir, that what you were involved in is road rage. You, not her. She was an accident. She was negligent. She wasn't paying attention. Let's say all of those things, not on purpose, because that would be stupid, and she has not recently been psychiatrically hospitalized. You, on the other hand, made a purposeful decision to tail her because you were annoyed that your tools moved. That's what happened. Would that be a fair statement, Mr. Parkinson?
Yes, I was annoyed.
Okay, you were annoyed, and what followed was an incident of road rage. Your husband, you've been in the car with him when he's had a little bit of road rage? Think about it before you answer me. Have you been in the car with him when he has reacted in a different way from the way you would have reacted to another car?
He has, very minimal.
The answer is either yes or no. Have you been with him in the car when he has reacted in a way that you would not have reacted in a traffic situation?
Yes, ma'am.
Caption coming up.
I assume that the police searched the truck.
The police searched me.
Did they search the truck?
I gave the police the authority to search my truck willingly.
They searched the truck.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Brian and Shelley.
Brian Parkinson claims his neighbor, Shelley Burke, owes for the costs of being falsely arrested. Shelley is countersuing Brian for emotional distress, saying he threatened her with a gun.
And when he's reacted that way, did you ever say anything to him?
It was minimal. I didn't respond to it.
Really? Okay. Good. When my husband gets involved in one of those road rage things because somebody cuts him off, I'm all over him like white on rice. Are you crazy, putting me in jeopardy because you got a bad temper? That's what I say to my husband. She can attest to that. Me, I once said it to a police officer who pulled him over. Give him a ticket. Give him 2 tickets. Maybe he'll stop. Right?
True.
So now you're involved in a road rage hissy fit and you're tailgating her. How many blocks did you tail her? Or how many miles did you tail her? Don't look as if you don't understand my question.
No.
Okay, good.
3/4 of a mile, if that.
Okay, well, that's a pretty long way, 3/4 of a mile. So you were tailing her for 3/4 of a mile. And at some point, did she make a turn with her car to avoid you tailing her?
Yes.
A 90-degree turn?
Yes.
So tell me, now you're following her for 3/4 of a mile, and she makes this turn.
Yes.
Now, when she made that sharp turn, did you follow her?
Nope.
No.
No.
No. I know you didn't follow her because she made that turn to get away from you. Do you understand? I've been on this earth a very long time. You, Mr. Parkinson, are an ordinary guy with a bad temper. So I've played this scene in my head, both from personal experience and from watching other jerks like you, in my head 100 times. So when she made this turn, she made the turn to get away from you, and you said, well, I accomplished my mission. I jarred her a little bit. That's if I believe your story, all of it. And you went home. Now, I'm to the point where she makes the turn and you went home. So far, correct?
That is correct.
Does that look familiar to you, Mr. Parkinson?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so I would like you to walk over there, show me where the gas station is, and show me where you started to follow her.
I'll be more than happy to.
A map.
Of course, it says Shell right here. That's where the incident began.
Right.
She pulled out immediately in front of me, causing me to hit my brakes.
Just a second. So she caused you to hit your brakes.
Yes.
That
And
I know.
then she turned right. I followed her into the village. Everybody gets close.
No. Just show me. I followed her into the village and
Right
show me
here.
where you proceeded.
Then we drove down, and she turned, I believe, here or here.
Turned how?
To the right.
Okay, and you proceeded to your house?
Yes.
Okay, now you can step back. So she turned off to get away from the maniac who was tailgating her because she had made a mistake in pulling out in front of him at a gas station. You go home, and what do you do when you get home?
I backed my truck in.
And then what did you do?
I got out of my truck to move the tools and stuff that had shifted to the front of the bed, to the back of the bed, where I can get to them better for work, because I had to slam on the brakes twice.
Mr. Parkinson, do you know what doesn't make sense to me? Your husband isn't a stupid man, is he?
No, ma'am.
No. Now, I don't drive a truck, but I know when I go to the store and buy 2 gallons of chicken soup with matzo balls, and I go to put them in the car, I say to myself, Judy, it's possible that you're going to have to stop short, that a light's going to turn red. So I put the chicken soup in between the front seat and the back seat of the car, and I move the seat so it's stable, so that if my car stops a little short, because even if it stops a little short, my chicken soup would be on the floor of the car. So I make sure that it doesn't move. It just doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't secure this toolbox any better. If you stop short, those tools are naturally going to move, right? The weight of the tools is actually going to move. Okay, so I just am putting this whole thing in my head. Do you need a permit to buy a gun in Arkansas?
You do not have to have a permit to carry in Arkansas. It is an
But you
open
have to
carry
make an
state.
application.
You have to apply to buy a handgun or long rifle.
Have you ever done that?
Yes, I have, multiple times.
Just a second. So the answer is yes.
Yes.
What have you applied to buy?
Numerous guns.
Which you still have.
Yes.
I assume that you keep those guns within the proximity of your home.
They are all kept in the house, Your Honor.
The next thing, according to you, the police show up at your door.
That is correct.
And they have a conversation with you about a report.
Yes, they
that
did.
someone in your area has complained that there were shots fired by you out of your truck during this road rage incident.
That's what the statement says.
That's what the statement says. And I assume that the police searched the truck.
The police searched me.
Did they search the truck?
I gave the police the authority to search my truck willingly.
They searched the truck.
I told them they could.
Mr. Parkinson, I know that you think that I'm stupid. I know that you must think that I'm stupid. Did you give the police permission to search your house? The answer is yes or no.
No.
Of course not. Because in your house, they would have found multiple guns.
Correct.
In your house, that's a yes or a no. In your house, they would have found multiple guns.
Yes.
You keep multiple guns in your house, but don't carry one around for protection in your truck. When did they arrest you?
I was arrested on August 2nd.
Okay. And?
I was told to call the village police department. I promptly called them, and they told me I had a warrant for my arrest.
And?
I was very shocked.
And?
And I was charged with felony assault, and I had to pay $1,080 to bond and fees to get out of jail.
And?
I was released from jail. And then on the 17th, is that correct?
19th.
The 19th of August, I had a court date.
And?
It was nolle prost, due to the request of the village police department for lack of evidence.
Okay. And?
So I'm out that amount of money for bond for a false arrest because a false statement and half a day.
Okay, we're going to find out if it's a false statement. So far, I'm not thinking it's a false statement. I have to let that sink into you, Mr. Parkinson. So far, I'm not thinking it's a false statement. I'm going to hear the defendant. I know one thing for certain. You were involved in a road rage incident and you were the perpetrator. Whether or not you flashed a gun, she's going to tell me. We certainly know that you have guns, according to you, multiple guns, in your house. I suppose you have a couple for you and a couple for your wife. Who else lives in your house with you?
Just two of us.
Just the two of you. How many guns does he have in the house?
Caption, coming up, Shelley at the map.
So when I go around this one S-car, I hear a pop. And I'm like, oh my God, he just shot at us. I said, call 911. When I start coming back down again, I look in my passenger mirror. I saw the spark. I saw it. I'll never forget it. He popped the gun again.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Brian and Shelley.
Brian Parkinson is accusing his neighbor, Shelley Burke, of lying to the police and getting him falsely arrested. Shelley claims Brian was shooting his gun while following her home.
How many guns does he have in the house?
We have 2 long guns that he used for hunting, and we each have a handgun.
And you each have a handgun?
Yes.
Good.
They are in travel cases that are locked.
You want to know something? I don't believe that.
Well, we have grandchildren that come over.
When there are grandchildren, you may lock them. Okay, now we're going to you, Miss Burke. Did you see him when you cut him off?
I did not.
Let's start out with the fact that you were exiting the gas station. Mm-hmm. You didn't see him. You weren't paying attention. You didn't look that way. Whatever it was, you cut him off. So let's start from there.
You got it. This gray truck comes up behind me, swerving and revving his motor and all that. Got as close as he possibly could.
Why don't you show me
I
over
will
there?
do that. Okay.
Shelley approaches a map on a view screen.
There's 2 lanes going into the village. There's a left and a right lane. I go left, he goes right. Well, I get in front of him, and then he starts getting behind me, swerving his car back and forth, revving his motor. He is so close. He's probably closest to me and him. I mean, he's not a car length away. He's right up on my bumper and revving his truck, and I'm going the speed limit. Then I turn to make a left. He's still right on me, never lets up. It's kind of a tricky area because it's curvy. So when I go around this one S-curve, I hear a pop. And I'm like, oh my God, he just shot at us. I said, call 911. When I start coming back down again, I look in my passenger mirror. I saw the spark. I saw it. I'll never forget it. And he heard it. We heard, even on the phone call, I think you can possibly hear it. He popped the gun again. And then he's on 911 talking to her, and the lady's saying, be calm, be calm. And I'm leaning down in the car. He's trying to tell me to go. He looks like he's going on past us. But when he does that, he rolls down the window, and you could see him holding a gun in his hand. And he says something I can't understand what he's saying. He's getting the license plate number. So we thought he kept on going.
So your son got the license number?
Yeah, he got the license plate number. He's on the phone with 911 at this time.
And that's what was given to the police?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I got the 911 call here with us today.
I would like to hear it. Step back. Can I hear the 911 call, please?
Go, 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 go!
911, what is your emergency?
Somebody behind shooting at us.
What?
He's a gray Toyota truck. He was shooting at us. His license plate number is...
I need all units. We got a vehicle that is, the complainant's on 911 saying the vehicle is shooting at them. I'm fixing to run the tag. Who am I speaking with?
This is Leslie Scott Rogers.
And you said what kind of vehicle was it?
It's a gray Toyota Tundra. Go.
It's coming back on a gray Toyota Tundra, and that's what the complainant says. It's a 2014 Toyota Tundra.
Okay, start that 911 call all over again. Pay careful attention, because I thought at the beginning of this tape, I too heard a shot. Could we start again, please? Take your hand out of your pocket.
Go, 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 go!
911, what is your emergency?
Somebody behind shooting at us.
There it is. There it is. Got it. You can stop it.
That doesn't sound like a gunshot.
Mm-hmm. Your case is dismissed, Mr. Parkinson. Your case is dismissed. I have a counterclaim, so stand where you are. The counterclaim is by Miss Burke for the emotional trauma that she, let's just talk about her, went through as a result of your road rage and shooting your gun at her, which you did. You probably didn't shoot it to hit her or to hit the car, because I don't think you're that stupid. Stupid, yes, but I don't think that's stupid. I think you did it to frighten her, just to frighten her. Then I think that you brought the gun that you keep in your truck when you work, maybe on your person, which you probably have a perfectly legal right to do, and you took the gun, you said, just in case something happens, because I did, in fact, shoot my gun in her direction, because I heard it on the 911 call. I better put it in the house. I better put it in the house. So you took the gun and you brought it into the house, and then saying, oh, police are here. Oh, well, search my truck. You won't find a gun. Search me. You won't find a gun on me. Don't search my house. And I guarantee you that you didn't say to the policemen when they came, I do have a gun, but it's locked in my house. Show me something where you told the police that you had a gun, but it was in the house. Nothing, because it didn't happen. Based upon that 911 call, the fact that you were involved in a road rage incident with her, tailing her at least 3/4 of a mile, right on her tail, causing that 911 call, as far as I'm concerned, that's trauma. My heart would have been racing triple time, because I don't know whether behind me is a lunatic or just a stupid guy who can't control his temper, and his wife hasn't been able to beat it out of him for the last how many years you're married. Because there's no question he's done that sort of thing before. Maybe not with a gun. Maybe not with a gun. When was the last time, sir, prior to this time, that you were arrested? When was the last time prior to this time that you were arrested? Year?
19.
Then 19, your age, or 2019?
2019.
2019. For what? Now, don't think, I know that if I were arrested once, a couple of years ago, I would have remembered what it was.
Well, I was arrested for supposed harassment, violation of no contact order. What else?
No, don't look at her.
It's been so many times, I can't remember.
So you've been arrested multiple times?
Yes.
Okay, good. Nice. You picked him.
I don't see how this pertains.
How does it pertain?
I do
for your propensity for violence, sir.
This has nothing to do with violence.
No, it does have to do with her counterclaim. $5,000 is what your counterclaim is for. Is that correct? Judgment on the counterclaim for $5,000. Your claim's dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
It was a very bad day.
We do not carry weapons in our vehicles.
I won't even go out at night anymore because I'm scared he's coming by my house.
She described in the report a black weapon. We don't have a black handgun.
The truth is, I saw the guns.
Well, I think she created a situation by admitting she didn't see me.
I don't understand why he would even say that.
People want to drive stupid, let them and just back off.
Judy.
The plaintiff was certainly not forthcoming. I let him search my truck. I let him search me. What about your house? Did you tell them I do have a gun, but it wasn't out, it wasn't me, because I leave my guns at, my 2 long guns and my 2 short guns at home? Yeah. You could hear the pop in the first part of that when
911 call.
when he was hysterical. And